I think as far as the true nature of reality, if we even understood 1/10 of 1% of the true nature of reality, I would say that would be an overestimation. We don't know what the fuck we are. We don't know why the fuck we're here. And we think there's some kind of invisible man in the sky. I mean, we're a bunch of cavemen who are worshiping the sun and fighting amongst each other. There are very few animals that kill their own kind. We're vicious, psychopathological beasts. And the only reason why I even bother to pay the slightest attention to this fucking world is because I love music. I love to write music and I want people to hear the music. Otherwise, this fucking world is an utter waste of time. It's a disgusting shithole.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to Outliers and Exile, where all the weirdos, freaks, misfits, outsiders, artists, thinkers, intellectuals, and all the other people that usually don't thrive in normal society find their way to. It's an open panel show. You're welcome to come on and talk about anything you want. I do have a tweet thread I want to get over. I kind of wanted, I don't know where Chris is, but I'm kind of waiting on Chris and the rest of my crew to show up because I have a thread from Twitter that I want to go over that talks about some of the things that have been coming up on the show lately related to proof and God and reality and things like that. So in the meantime, let me see what else there is on Twitter. That video was an interview with Glenn Branca. He was one of the pioneers of the no wave movement, which is kind of the little musical scene that I probably most come from. It was late New York City, just after punk. Punk only lasted a few years. And after the punk bands signed and toured and moved on, it kind of left a void in New York City. And Glenn Branca stepped in and started this scene called No Wave, which the group Sonic Youth emerged from eventually, as did Swans, Helmet, and it's kind of like really distorted, chaotic guitar symphonies. And if you familiar with Sonic Youth, definitely listen to Glenn Branca's early stuff because you'll hear the origins of that sonic sound. Okay, nothing on Twitter. Let's check the news. Trump's civil trial is ending today. So I don't know what significance that's going to have. I think the criminal ones, the 4 indictments, are going to be more important. Israel is still fighting Gaza. That's about it. Okay, so we're in week 2 of the future. What's going on with everyone? Things are going pretty good here. We've been hanging out in the little panel verse and doing our thing. Let's see. Okay, well, I'm just going to go do the thread. I don't know where my co-hosts are. Okay, this is a thread about wrong one. Hang on. Oh, I forgot. Twitter's doing that new stupid thing where it puts things on the side. Okay. You're thinking about Christianity or any religion as primarily making claims about the supernatural, and they do. But those are inherently untestable and thus uninteresting claims. I think the same thing. Here's my co-host. Hey, Chris.
Hey, what's up? Sorry.
I'm going to this Twitter thread that I think you'll find interesting.
Cool. My putting up really.
But those are inherently untestable and interesting claims about the supernatural that religions make. However, the primary role of religion in society is making social claims, and those are not only testable, they are and have been proven to be overwhelmingly true. Christianity makes claims about human nature that are vastly more operational than anything that has come out of the social sciences. If you operationalize Christian claims, you're likely to be happy, healthy, and have a stable society. You should thus look at Christianity for what it actually is, the result of thousands of years of iterative empiricism on human nature and society. Thus, if you have a scientific bent, it's the best collection of data out there. Actually, I would expand that to say the entire Western tradition, at least for Westerners. Not Christianity is just one pillar component of that, but you have Greek poetry, epic, you have philosophy, Socrates, Aristotle, and then it kind of merges in the Middle Ages. So you have our entire history of art, literature, philosophy, etc. that I think is that thousands of years of iterative empiricism on human nature and society, because the Greeks were being empirical about human nature and society even before Christianity. So I don't think Christianity is the final word on that. I think it's just one more voice in the conversation. Here's what I really want to get into. My friend Steve says, nah, if your claims are accurate, we don't need religion at all, just better social science. You also got to do a lot of cherry picking to support your claim. Hang on, that is not the post that I wanted to feature. It's another post by Steve. 1 second, folks, we're going to back out. I hate this new Twitter thing. Okay. The thing about things you can't explain is that you can't explain them. Making up an explanation doesn't solve the problem at all. It's still unexplained. You just have an article of faith to think about. And that's kind of along the lines of what Chris and I were talking about the other day about God and dark matter, etc. If you can't explain it, you can't explain it. Hypothesizing God or dark matter, whatever you want to do, doesn't mean that the problem is explained. It's just another article of faith. So that is what I wanted to bring up today. Welcome, Chris.
Yeah, no, it is an interesting thread. Did I miss any of it? What did you already started? That was the beginning of it.
Yeah, let me do this one more little tweet that goes along with it. He says, I don't have to go and study phlogiston or alchemy to study science. We don't have to learn all the beliefs of the past to move forward. To advance a claim, one must provide evidence. Faith is not evidence for the thing one holds faith in. So there, that's it. That's the tweets.
Okay.
Hey, Frank, welcome. Chuck, welcome. Jeff and his dogs chop wood and play video games. Your dogs play video games too? Do they chop wood?
I don't. Yeah, we have a couple of new commoners here.
Another Jeff.
I don't. I think I've seen just Frank before. Jeff and his dogs are not.
Yeah, Jeff Frank is the Tommy. Tommy Stan. Oh, well, welcome. And you're also welcome to come on and chat. It's an open panel, so we invite conversation. Yeah, you are. You're the Tommy Cupcake Troll. You're welcome.
You're not Tommy.
I haven't seen you in person, like on a panel, but so far you're not nearly as obnoxious as Tommy.
If you're Secret Tommy or something like that, then like we'll just.
I don't think he's Secret Tommy. I don't think Secret Tommy could pull this level of pro-sociability.
I don't either. I'm just saying, but like if he was secretly Tommy in disguise, and like I'm saying, like
and Lord.
he starts spurging, yeah.
Was he talking about me? Jeff found us through Tommy. Maybe Tommy could be an unlooked for ally after all. Although I don't know, I'd be skeptical of the kind of people he would send our way. Not you, Jeff, of course. But thank you. We appreciate your being here.
I mean, some people watch Tommy for different reasons. Some people don't mind the spurging, and they don't get as triggered by it or as annoyed by it as myself and maybe and I know you do. But some people find him entertaining because of how how kind of like madcap.
Yeah, like
he is.
watching Tommy and his own content is different than having Tommy on a panel. Like
Yeah,
I
it
have
is.
no problem with Tommy having his own channel, doing his own comment, and whoever is into his art form, watching it and enjoying it. That is completely different when he comes and disrupts other people's shows with his attention seeking, his spurgery, his insecurity, his ego, like the ego quest he's on, the boasters, all of that shit, which the other trolls do too. He's just one of the most egregious.
Makes gourmet spurgers,
Yeah. So that's my issue with Tommy. It's Tommy in relation to community building. Tommy as an artist on his own, I have no criticism of whatsoever. In fact, I support him. Oh, panel season 2. Damn, we have seasons to these things. What season are we in?
It's just old panel lore from season 2.
I guess this is our season 2 because we've just kind of
we're doing a reboot, so I don't even know.
Yeah,
what
we've
call it at that
rebooted.
point.
So this is our center, COA to center of attention. Exactly, Chuck. Yes, I'm a baby panelist. Yes, we are baby panelists, but we're in our like we're hitting into our toddler phase.
You say we're baby panelists. You say that, but I think if I added up all the hours I've logged since I started being a panelist, I know for a fact that I'd be considered an old experienced prospector type compared to like even like what place we met was PF Young's channel. And like, I mean, I know I've long since surpassed his number of streaming hours. So.
Well, I'll tell you what we are a apparently moneymaker for everyone else's panel because we're not monetized yet. We're trying to get to 1,000, but every time this crew ends up on other panels, people.
Well, at least Lib. I don't know.
They loosen up those super chats. They start throwing those quarters.
Man, like Lib was racking it up for like we went through 4 panels, but including our own, we had our panel. Then we went to
Talcott, and then Machine,
and then Flow, and in all 3 of those panels that after this one, I don't know if it was one guy or if it was 2 different guys or what, but they were all super chatting because they were angry about Lib being an anarchist at votes or something. So it was very strange, but good for all of them. I'm glad that they got the support they need, to buy their beer and their cigarettes or whatever.
Yeah, I want real followers though. I don't want to pay for followers. I want them to be individual people that we get to know as we grow.
Yeah, Talcott's a good dude. Yeah, I mean, I'll get in arguments with Talcott, but I mean, he's a good dude. I mean, I don't think he's a bad person.
I like Jack. If you go on our channel at the bottom, it has the affiliated channels, and those are all some of our favorite streams, and we're often on those as well. So you can check those out.
You mean Paul Enslaved? Like Paul Enslaved. We don't watch. We don't.
Yeah, nobody cares about Paul Enslaved.
We do not have any association with Paul Enslaved. So if that's who you're talking about, if you're talking about PF Young, I do not believe that PF Young buys his subs because if he did, he'd have a lot more by now.
Now we get his from going on the larger panels.
Yeah, I mean he's been on stuff with Destiny and he's been on Stitch and Adam and stuff like that. So yeah, he's been on a lot of much bigger places than we've been. So
yeah,
you can buy a bigger safety bubble at 500 subs. What does that mean?
What's
a safety bubble?
Safety bubble?
Yeah, please explain.
Yeah, same thing. I get the same feeling about Neanderthal Paul. He's the one that wants to start the my channel, host Jeff's channel. I don't know why. If it's just gaming content, like I mostly list the live panels that other people can go on and chat.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm not a video gamer myself. Chris is.
You're saying why isn't it listed? Why isn't it listed on our channel? Like, why don't we have it listed there? Because like we've just met you guys. I didn't. I mean, well, we can add your channels. I mean, that's fine. We can add it to like the channels we follow list. But I literally Jeff and his dogs, man. That's the first time I've ever seen you. So I couldn't even begin to subscribe to you if I didn't even know you existed before. So
okay. So what's on your mind today?
Not much. I'd run out and do some errands earlier, and That's it. I mean, I ran out and did some errands. I have not really done much in the way of anything more productive than that. Just like basically trying to get some few things squared away. You know, I already did the hearing thing yesterday, and
Frank,
I was
and or
waiting for
Jeff,
that.
tell me the link to your channels and I can put them in the chat, because I can't find either one on YouTube under those names. There is a Just Frank, but I'm not sure it's you. And I can't find a Jeff and his dogs chop wood.
You think Talcott bought his subs, Chuck? I mean, that wouldn't necessarily surprise me that much. I mean, it is a.
I don't know people that we can interact.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't like fake bots and fake viewers. I want an actual audience of people that I'm doing this for community building, so I want an actual community that we can interact with.
Frank says Talcott didn't buy subs. I'm just asking. That's what Chuck said. I was just asking. I'm not accusing anybody of anything. I don't know. The whole buying subs thing is like I even know.
I guess it does get you monetized quicker if that's your only goal, but my goal is larger than just that. Yeah, he's one of the few. Like Chris and I go every day, and I think Talcott's one of the few other panelists that also does a daily stream, and then Flo does like every other day. Jeff and his dogs. Okay, let me look. It gave some Jeffs and some dogs, but not Jeff and his dogs. And we can play one of your videos if there's one you want us to.
Yeah, if you want us to give a sample to our very small audience, but we don't have as many live viewers as a lot of people. We have been picking up our after.
Here, I found it.
Our after stream viewers have been going up pretty steadily. So like I mean, it's not a lot, but it's still like we get hundreds or so views, but typically here lately on the other side of it. So I mean, I don't know, which is strange to me because I would imagine most people wouldn't be interested in a stream like this if it wasn't live, but people do. So I mean, like people will see it. I know last night Machine played pretty much like our entire stream from the day before.
Oh, he did?
I thought he was just playing a clip from it, but I went back and looked at.
Oh, hey, Provo.
Yeah, hey, Provo. You want?
Yeah, we have decent viewers like you. Thank you for good to see you.
Yeah, I went back and looked. I went back to check on and see if because at first when I just saw Machine on like my YouTube thing, and I scrolled over it. I thought for a second he had opened back up the panel, but he was playing clips from yet another show. I guess when he was on Talcott or something like that. I couldn't tell which panel it was, but then I scrolled back through and I noticed like he played literally like almost 2 hours of our previous show.
Yeah, absolutely, Jeff. Would love to have you.
Yeah,
and your channel does look cool.
It is an open channel, man. It's an open channel. I used to be a big gamer myself. I don't. And I at one point I thought about doing like Let's Play type stuff. I had a buddy that was going to do that stuff with me, and I just it never ended up happening. We made some videos, and then we never really got around to actually making the channel and stuff like that. And it was years ago, but I struggle to even play a video game anymore. For even I turn them on sometimes. I'm like, I'm going to play a video game.
We played Among Us the other day.
Yeah, that was fun.
We play Among Us on here when we have enough people. That's always an option. Frank, what is your channel?
Yeah.
Oh, no subs.
Well, I mean, yeah, our sub count's not really high. We broke 130, and I'm thrilled about that. But I mean,
I'm not a numbers person. I don't even look at all that. I just look at who's hanging out in the chat that day.
Yeah, I know, but it's still fun. I guess it's
ideally. Okay. Some of my favorites that I think would be fun to stream. There's a co-op game called We Were Here. Among Us. There's a werewolf mafia variation called Avalon that has a free online play, and then we were going to live stream a D&D game, like a tabletop game. And my favorite game is Cosmic Encounter. I think it would be way nerdy to stream, and I'm still trying to learn Tabletop Simulator. But that's my favorite game in the world, and if I could get people playing that, I would consider streaming it. Because the gameplay itself, it's fun. I think the the way the components are on tabletop, they're kind of small and complex and nerdy. But the gameplay itself, I think, would be entertaining. I'm a board gamer. But video-wise, it would be like We Were Here, Among Us, maybe Mansions of Madness.
I'm sure if I really looked around, I could find a bunch of stuff like that. I don't know as many multiplayer games because I was like just a single player gamer for so long. But I do know that there are tons of like multiplayer games of all sorts of types. I never really had like a group of friends or anything that were into that sort of thing. So that's the reason why I never really played them much, you know. And like I used to try to play like online, like random people, and like I remember like back when Borderlands 2 came out, I remember like actually like I left like the online setting on that, like, and people would just come into your game and just be dicks to you and just like kill you and take all your stuff and everything like that, and it just pissed me off. So I just kind of stopped. And especially I remember Lindsay at one point when she was really into like kart racing games for a little while, and she was playing Mod Nation Racers back on the PS3. And she'd like be on the online races, and like she'd leave like the chat thing on, and you could just hear you could literally hear everybody else in the game was all 8-year-olds, and they were all just like cursing, like they're all being like just complete little shits. It's just like I don't know, it really sad. Like those days really soured me on multiplayer gaming, just because like just because all the 8-year-olds just like cursing you out for no reason, like and they're all way better than you too. So Binding of Isaac. Is Binding of Isaac 4 Souls? Is that a different, or is that 2 different games? I know Binding of Isaac. I don't know what 4 Souls is, but Binding of Isaac, man, that's a tough one. I do like some roguelikes though. I like it's not multiplayer. I like Enter the Gungeon a lot, but
do you do panels, Frank? Let us know when a panel is. We'll go hang out. We'll bring our commie friends. Oh, it's not you. Okay. Well, type your @name in, and I'll look it up.
Yeah, you don't have to put the @ on it. If you put the @ on it, it might not let it go through.
Panels.
But no panels.
And we have Mr. Jeff.
Hey, Jeff, what's going on, man?
No dogs yet. How you doing?
They're outside. I mean, I can bring them in, but they might.
I love your screensaver.
Oh yeah, the Matrix. I actually I have it on all of them here. So.
Oh, okay.
I used to have a very similar setup. I used to have a very similar setup.
Technique. What's that?
I used to have a very similar setup with like the monitor spread all over, or like that. I used to have a similar setup like that. I get it. Yeah. Are you allowed today? Yes, Jack. You're allowed. Even if
allowed,
yeah. Even if Jeff says otherwise, you were always allowed.
You're one of us.
I know. Yeah, but he wouldn't. He didn't want to come. He didn't want to come back on FlowState last night. He was afraid. People get too triggered. So.
Triggered. I was more worried about him getting triggered. I wasn't triggered at all. He seemed triggered by everything under the sun.
He wasn't really triggered. I've gotten to know Jack like off stream a lot more. It's just like a, he was distracted and shit. It's all right.
I'm looking up 4 Souls. I've never heard of it. Sounds cool though.
There we go. Perfect.
Yeah. So what's up, Jeff? What's your story?
Well, I felt very conversational when I first signed up here, and now I'm kind of drawing a blank. But I guess that's
it's okay. Just hang out, man.
Yeah,
it's
just
all
hang
right.
out.
It's all right just to hang out until something comes.
Yeah, jump in whenever.
Talking about like why we're here and all that, and like I'm still never been fully convinced that we are here. Like, do you guys ever remember like being born? Like everything in your life is really based upon what other people told you.
Kind of like the last Tuesday or something.
I was watching a video today from Big Think on consciousness, and it was talking about exactly this. And it's experience and awareness, and the guy said that's the same thing. Like it's 2 words for the same thing, but that's what consciousness is. Like you have to be conscious of something. It's self-reflexive. And so my consciousness started when I was like 2.5 or 3. I don't remember myself as an infant. So I wasn't like I guess my little infant body had consciousness, but I didn't have conscious awareness.
I mean,
but I feel like I'm here now, like Descartes, because I'm aware that I'm here.
Yeah. And, I think that for a lot of people, there's a specific moment in time when you remember having that voice inside your head, you know, that you're able to think for yourself at some point. At least, I mean, for me, I remember just being out in the yard playing, like, hey, who's talking if there's no one around?
Like,
but I'm not using my voice, you know, it's inside.
It was inside your head. You're talking about like your inner dialogue, monologue.
Right. No, now I feel like a crazy person talking about the voices.
No, it's okay. That's not the same thing as schizophrenia. Trust me, I have experience with it. So not for myself, but yeah, I have. It's in my family. So no, you don't have to worry about that, man. I understand what you mean by inner voice. Like that's basically what schizophrenia is whenever you lose the ability to distinguish between your inner voice being you and someone else. That's whenever that's what causes
That's happened on psychedelics for me, where there's a third party voice that feels external to myself, and in the back of my mind I know it's my brain, but it's very real in the moment when you're having that experience.
That's something I've never experienced in psychedelics, and that would be very terrifying.
But they do say that psychedelics can simulate schizophrenic states. So
yeah, I've heard that too, and you know, it's something to definitely be aware of. But you know, at the same time, schizophrenics don't really know they're crazy. That's the thing about being crazy, is crazy people don't know they're crazy.
That is true. That's what my teacher used to tell me, that if you can question whether you're crazy, then that means you're not crazy.
Yeah, I still want. I still have doubted that myself, because I was when I was about 10, 12 years ago, like I felt like I was going crazy, and like I remember telling a friend, I was like, I'm really afraid I'm like entering like the early stages of schizophrenia or something like that. You know, I didn't even understand what that meant. I just felt like I was losing my mind, and that's basically what he said to me too. And then I actually talked to a psychiatrist, and they were like, well, you're sitting here talking to me rationally about it, so that probably means, you know, like without me having to do any brain scans or anything on it to see if there's anything like unusual going on, I think you're probably all right now. If you start having like really like you know, and especially, you know, self-deletion ideation and things like that, you know, those kind of things are the things that, like, you know, the things they really don't want you to have. So if you start having those certain ideas that are definitely like, and that they feel real to you or something like that, and it doesn't, and you don't recognize that they're crazy, that's whenever you have to worry. But then of course you don't recognize it's crazy, so you don't go to anybody talk about it. It's a very, very catch-22 situation.
Frank, I'm scared. Do you really remember being born? I'm very, very skeptical.
I was about to read his comment out loud about the first time I was aware of the voice in my head. It said, "Don't poop," and then I pooped my pants.
Hey.
Why do I?
I mean, I could almost believe that. I could almost believe that. That almost seems.
Yeah. Box. I used to work inpatient psych, and this is exactly what we would do: is help them understand when they're in a psychotic state, what's a delusion, what's reality. I think the mind protects us. What's that Wallace Stevens quote? The mind, Father, is the most terriblest thing in the world, for in chief it only can defend against itself.
Yeah.
I mean, I have dissociation. That's definitely my mind protecting me from something. I remember the exact moment it happened, and like during some trauma, and I've never been able to feel my body since. So that's a form of my mind protecting me.
You're never able to feel your body sense?
Mm-mm.
Well, that's the basis of dissociative disorder. What other people,
so you don't feel pain or anything? I mean,
I feel pain. Well, I'm very rare. When I have physical pain, I feel it. But I mean, that's not a common occurrence. But I don't feel. I'm not in my body. I'm like, it's depersonalization and derealization.
Wow, and that's helpful for you. It seems like that would be a bad thing.
No, I hate it. It's but there's nothing I can do about it. There's no medication that can fix it. Like maybe there are some kind of psychedelic,
there are no
like really intensive therapy. But other than that, it's my body. My brain is, my mind is protecting me from.
I wonder if you're someone who would do well with like that ketamine therapy I keep hearing about.
I don't know. They have it up here. I do know some practitioners that use it, but I've never done ketamine, so I don't know.
I was always I have no interest in it, but like
it was never one that appealed to me. Seeing people in K-holes.
Yeah, no, well, I mean, like in a medical environment, with a doctor administrating, I don't think you'd get into a K-hole. But
yes, exactly, Jack. Anxiety is so fucking contagious. Like I'm not an anxious person at all. I'm pretty relaxed, but when I'm around anxious people, I even get it. I catch their anxiety. And
Yeah,
I start
no,
being
it
anxious
is.
for no reason whatsoever except that they're anxious. It's like simulated feeling.
It's empathy.
And I stay away from anxious people.
Empathy and sympathy are what do it to me. I mean, if I can sense somebody being anxious, like, you know, even if they're trying very hard not to act like they are, because if they're sitting in the same room with me, like I can't help but like I can't help pick up on it. It just like it, you know. Yeah, but no, I know I've heard people that have. I've never heard you mention that before, Jeff, and I never but I was reading some article about the proliferation of the ketamine therapy thing they've been doing inside, and like there was somebody, one of the people that they were talking about that was helped by it did describe something kind of similar to that. So that's why I mentioned it, was that they were that they had trouble associating with, like, they felt disassociated all the time, and even though ketamine is a disassociative, I guess if you're in that state all the time, it can help reassociate you or something like that, or maybe it's maybe coming out of
ketamine is a dissociative.
Yeah, but maybe it might be the when it wears off, it kind of like pulls you back into yourself or something like that. I don't know, but that's what they were saying.
I watched I remember Joseph Campbell, The Power of Myth. They had this scene where these shamans would travel outside their body, and then when they were ready to come back, the whole village would gather around them and put their hands on them and like physically draw them back into their body. So maybe it would take something like that. Echo or background noise. Okay, who's echoing? Is it me? I'm going to go on mute, see if it's me.
Echo. Nope. I don't hear any echo.
All right.
Is
it still doing it?
Do you hear it right now? Yeah, I think it's coming from. It must be coming from you because I don't have any speakers on. Everything's through my headphones. Here, let me see if I can readjust this thing again.
Well, let me know if it starts again, and I'll switch.
I'm just using my phone for the camera. I can just switch to my headset. Do you think it might be coming from me?
I'm not hearing one from you at all.
It's again. I don't know why. I don't know how.
Great. So I keep trying to readjust it. So.
Yeah, everything's going through my headphones. I don't understand like this keeps happening with this thing. This is the headset I used to use for work, and it's
what?
Especially one of the best headsets on the market, and I don't understand why it gets me this issue.
He's saying turn the gain down.
Echo cancellation is on.
Yeah, I'll just switch to my headsets.
I don't think it's you, dude. I think it's me. I don't know what. I just don't know what's causing it.
You know, as techie as I am, I have no idea about anything with streaming. So I haven't been enjoying my journey jumping into this. So this is the kind of tech issues, the challenges, right?
Yeah, no, I taught myself like before, because I was going to start a channel like before all the COVID should happen, and I taught myself OBS and all that stuff, and got like figured out this whole big OBS. I had a 3-computer OBS set up because I was gonna have one computer for like running games off of, and one computer for actually capturing video, and then and then I was gonna have one streamer unit. And I had this whole like complicated setup and everything, and it worked pretty well in my tests and everything. And now then I came back to this, and now it's now they have a StreamYard and all this shit, and it's all so much simpler. Like it's like there wasn't
StreamYard. It is so cool. I haven't got the paid version yet or anything, but I've just been playing with that and OBS and just. I mean,
OBS is still good.
StreamYard is so worth it. It's the best thing that ever. I was doing all this on Zoom before, and StreamYard is by far. It is me.
It's awesome. I love the filters, and like not to rehash Tommy again, but the filters that Tommy uses are fucking amazing.
I like his Satan filter. What is that AI? Where does he get those from?
I don't know. I mean,
I could just look at it. I'm sure I could find audio. I have so much audio. I used to have one of those big audio unit voice things. That's one of the things I sold when I sold all my studio stuff, and I miss that thing like hell. Like, man, I could make my voice sound like anything. I could do like that Kanye auto tune stuff, where you just like talk and I could do that kind of shit with it. I could make my voice sound like any kind of degree of devil you wanted to sound like. I could make my voice sound like I could pitch shift my voice to the point where I could sound like just like a woman singing.
Do you still have it?
No, when I sold my studio stuff to pay for medical bills.
That's what Rowan does with his AI.
Yeah, it was fun. It was really fun. I love that thing. I was trying to like work up stuff for live performance stuff and everything, and then everything went to hell. So yeah, shit happens. It's just stuff. Maybe one day I'll have it back. Maybe not.
Super cool to play with. I've never really been all that, I guess, artistic in my life. I've always been more technical. So I just pushing over the 40 hill and living out in the woods like a hermit, so it's been nice to like have this as a form of interaction instead of like having the same like toxic circle of people and shit. It's kind of been a way to branch out and network. So
definitely, man, definitely. It's I mean, this room especially, I think for most anybody, I mean, like we get a little heated every now and then, but for the most part, this is a really positive space. And we've never had a single we've had some people that rage quit a couple of times, but like in terms of us and like the main people that are on here, like everybody's like good friends at the end of it. Like me and Jeff argue all the time about stuff on stream, but like we get off here and like we'll go watch like Survivor and Drag Race and shit like on Discord. Like we hang out. We're just we're friends. The people here are actually friends. We're actually a community. So like, and it's not like some of these like kind of community-ish streams. Like I feel like they're very well, yeah, a little.
It's and there's a stay highly positive is something I've been trying to adopt for myself and going through all the trials and tribulations of just being alive, and it gets a little challenging sometimes when stuff happens. Like I was on a panel the other night, and it was New Year, so I was drinking, and this lady blurted out how nobody wants to talk, like nobody cares about her, and like there's no point in any of this, and just basically, all right, well, she's like talking about suicide stuff,
yeah.
And it was a moment to just get empathetic about the fact, like, well, if that's true, who are you talking to right now? There's two people here at least, and there's other people in the chat, whether they're just lurkers or trolls or just people browsing through, they're here. And everybody here, we hear you, and and it just fired things right up. It changed the mood right around. It was awesome.
That's awesome, man. That's really awesome. There's
more. It turns out, like her story wasn't really entirely accurate, like what she was telling us about stuff. But that's what I'm talking about. You still got to stay positive, because that moment in time still exists where that person's life may have been changed, or at least she got the fulfillment that she needed to move forward. So we did have a great night and day that day of, but like got to still stay highly positive about the aftermath, I guess.
Definitely, man. That's really cool. Oh, and by the way, I want to shout out to Sundude, another new face in the chat. Maybe if you're not a new face, I apologize if I don't recognize the icon or anything. So just say it like
hey Sundude. Let's see. Here Talcott stream. Oh, McNemesis. Yeah, he was on. He drove away some of our guests too. McNemesis. MC Nemesis.
MC Nemesis. Like I don't know
the
why.
Non-rapping rapper.
I don't know how he scared anybody off there. He wasn't like that bad.
Dobez called it brain rot. It's some people are just not into that level of discourse. So it's fear. It's not out of fear. It's out of disinterest.
No, I get that. And he was kind of like spurting a little bit and talking over people. So it was happening. What kind of games do you play on your channel, Jeff?
That's right. That's what I was thinking about talking about. I started a Red Dead Redemption playthrough. Are you guys familiar with Red Dead Redemption at all?
Oh yeah, I played the first one.
I'm video game illiterate.
I played the first one all the way through, and then also the expansion, the zombie thing, and the second one I played for 3 hours and then just got bored as shit. It was too too focused on realism for me. It was too focused on like it was just it felt like it and it gave me anxiety because there was like way more things to like
There's so much to do. You don't know where to
yeah
go.
yeah it's just like it's like and like I don't know like I think I used to really like be into the idea of like this really huge open world type things, but I need that even though that one has a really focused like story type part to it. It like there's part of my brain that just wants to go off and do whatever and doesn't want to do the story thing. And then at the same time, like if it didn't have that option, I would just do the story. I don't know. I just get I get like I tried for a while. I tried to just do the thing where I would just play through the story of the game and like and just ignore all the open world stuff as best I could. And then it was less. But then some part of like my ADHD brain just gets like oh fuck that, I'm gonna do this other thing. I don't know. So I never really played 2 that much. But
I feel you on that, man. There's so much to do that it's so overwhelming.
And the horse maintenance just pissed me off. There was no need for that.
I still can't find my horse brush, man. I've been looking. Just Frank, he watches me sometimes. He might know about my struggle with this horse brush thing, and I still can't find it. And this pop up keeps up. And what I was gonna get to beyond like the video games is how that's evolved into like it's not just a video game; it's a simulation, right?
Yeah,
you can
it's a simulation.
What's the game called again? I want to look it up.
Red Dead Redemption.
Red Dead Redemption.
2.
Red Dead Redemption. Red Dead Redemption. Yeah. Technically, it was a sequel to a game that came out before called Red Dead Revolver, and then Rockstar took it and turned it into this open world thing called Red Dead Redemption. And then a sequel that still to this day is probably just about the best graphics ever put. It's still like the game's like almost 10 years old or something.
I think it's one of the best games of all time, if you ask me. But
I mean, yeah. I wish I could get into it. I can't get past like the
it's not much of a video game. It's more of a simulation. Yeah, and that's my point. Like it
is much more a simulation. And it's the chores thing. Like he said, open world games chores ruin it. Like, I don't want I like the first one. The first one was fine without the chores. I didn't need that.
How fun is it to chop wood, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it didn't really game horses. If you're gonna make chores in it, at least gamify them somewhat so they feel fun, and they don't in that game to me. Like it felt like work.
It may not feel like that at some points, but and I mean I've played it more than 400 hours. Frank said that's not a ton. We talked about this a little bit, but I mean I feel like that's a lot of hours to put into anything, right? Mm-hmm. But I've played through the entire story mode twice, and I actually cried at the end both times, right?
I definitely did. I definitely did the first one. The first one's got a beautiful like ending and epilogue like that. For that last chapter of the first game, like when you actually get to the city, it's great game.
Yeah, but and it's being able to do it on live stream, right, and just chat with people as they come and go and hang out and whatnot. And it's actually been really cool. I've really enjoyed it. Now, I really should probably play soon, but I just more of a talking mood, I guess.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
Yeah, it's man, it's just so cool just to jam out, riding my horse and chatting, listening.
I mean, the first one's a hell of a fun game. It really is. The first one's really fun. I mean, and I think it holds up really well.
So I mean, that's the whole thing, and like I think it was Alan Watts that said that man only suffers because he takes seriously what the gods made for fun, right? So, who's to say that the omnipresent force of nature just didn't create all this for fun?
Yeah, that's what I meant by last Tuesdayism, the whole theory that like literally because the whole idea is that if there's a God and it created the world, then for all we know, it created everything and us and all of our memories yesterday. Everything could have been created yesterday and we wouldn't know it because we would have all the history and everything would all be created at the same time because it could all be instantaneous. Like that's
not what I meant. Welcome, Sundude.
I don't believe that's what happened either. It's a dumb internet meme theory.
Oh, okay.
But it's not something I take seriously at all. I was just mentioning it because of like the whole like are we really here thing or not? Or is our memories real, that kind of thing.
They're partially real.
Are we still talking about video games, or are we talking about something else? I've transitioned from the YouTube to the screen with SteamYard, and I'm just.
I did notice you mentioned Bethesda games, and yes, I personally have tried many Bethesda games. I got the furthest of any of them through At least by Bethesda developed games. Now, like Bethesda published games, a few I'd gotten a little bit more, but because I love Prey, but that's more of a arcade video game.
The new one?
I love. No. What? There's a new one? You mean
the
one on the spaceship? The one on the
spaceship.
Yeah.
I love that game.
I love that.
It's one of my favorites. Yeah, with the one with the mimics.
Yeah. I love that one. But like I got through New Vegas about halfway, and before like I don't know, life got in the way.
But, you got halfway through New Vegas and dropped it?
Life got in the way, man. Life happened.
Oh, okay, that's fair. Yeah.
And it's one of those things where when I try to pick it back up, I couldn't remember what I was doing or.
Oh yeah, like what you're doing because there's so much. Yeah, I've had so many games like that where you like open your inventory up and you're like, where am I?
I had to start it over again, and I already put so many hours into it, and it's just one of those things where you just feel like, you know.
As someone who's been in those shoes many times before, I would say like. It's one of those things where it's similar to the theory when people say like, oh, I don't feel like doing this. If you just spontaneously do it, or if you just brush past that, I don't know, you'd be surprised at how quickly and easy it is to get back into it. Because I've done that with loads of games. I've done that with Death Stranding. I've done that with Skyrim. I've done it with all sorts. But it's really easy to get back into those games. Ideally, all you need to do is refamiliarize yourself with your inventory and
your controls.
Yeah. But the controls are pretty box standard. A lot of people are just like, especially for games like that, a lot of people just like to play them with controllers. But yeah, it's pretty straightforward. There was one game in particular that I'm really... right now, the game that's kind of like that for me are Starfield and Death Stranding.
Yes, Starfield I couldn't get into. I tried. Starfield killed me with the fast travel, man.
The same problem with Starfield, man. I get
that. Yeah, Starfield's a mixed bag, but I don't know. For me personally, it itches that scratch for exploration.
Yeah, but you really can't. But the exploration feels pointless, and if you don't,
it does after a while. Yeah, it feels a bit repetitive. I said the same thing to someone else, where I was like, when I played it for I've got it here now. How many hours have I put into it? So I've put 150 hours into this.
Oh my god! Wow.
Yeah, I know. Well, like I said, it itches. It scratches that itch for me. So like, but I will say that like, yeah, if you're playing, I will say to another friend, because I've not played it since 10th of December, I said to the same thing to another friend. I said, it's good for what it does, but in terms of story, it's and I could very easily pick up another game instead of playing Starfield.
I will say, and as someone who never played a Souls game before, I did put 200 hours into Elden Ring and played. I did like 3 playthroughs on that. I loved Elden Ring. That was the last game that I really liked. That and the Resident Evil
fellow brother. Welcome to the clan.
Resident Evil 4 remake too. And then
that's a great game too.
And I tried to go back and play the other Souls games after Elden Ring because I figured like, well, I loved Elden Ring so much. Maybe I just wasn't giving him enough of a chance.
How did you feel about that?
Well, I did finish 3.
Okay.
I didn't. I could not get into 2. I mean, 2 isn't bad. It's just like I don't know.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say it makes sense why you finished 3 because like 3. In terms of how it runs and how it plays, it's not that dissimilar from Elden Ring. But the further back you go, the more people I hear complaints from people about how it gets, especially if you go to 2. Jesus Christ, if you go to 2, it gets clunky and weird, and like the timing and the things that you do in the world aren't as like the fact that people can't jump in the earlier games is like a big deal breaker to a lot of people.
And I want to play, and I want to like Sekiro, but I suck at it so much. I suck at Sekiro so much. I can't get. Dude,
I know the feeling.
I got stuck on the second. I can't remember the second or third main boss. I got stuck there, and I was stuck there for like.
The ogre that throws you.
Yeah.
Oh my god! Right, I need to tell this. Yeah. I remember this for heart because this was the first Dark Souls game that nearly made me commit seppuku myself. If you play through that game and you don't know what you're doing, you're gonna hate it. There is like a set way to do it. So it's kind of semi-open world, but like the game implies there's certain things to do. See, it's not like the other Dark Souls games where it gives you a bunch of weapons and a bunch of stuff, and it's like, you can do this however you want. In Sekiro, there are certain parts in the game where you're meant to do it a certain way. That guy you're meant to fight with fire, and the only way you can know that, is if you have a special like pendant or something like that, and you go back to the guy who gave you the arm, and he's like, oh yeah, just pray to that statue real quick, and it takes you into a dream world where you can get the fire thing, like the firearm. You wouldn't know that unless you went around looking for everything. But that was the first Dark Souls game that I hated. And then once I understood because I dropped it for like half a year. When I picked it back up again, it became my second favorite.
I
really liked it.
I really enjoyed it. I was just so bad at it. That was all. It was with me. I was like, as opposed like all the other ones, I kind of get the curve for it. I even looked at tutorials and stuff on it, and looked at some walkthroughs to see like what I was doing wrong, and like it frustrated me. It was to the point where it wasn't. I was starting to not like it because it was frustrating me, so I stopped playing it for a while. Figured I'd pick it up later, but then I haven't really gotten video games lately at all. But because I was excited about Lies of P, and like as I just played, but I just played through Steel Rising, and they felt like the same game to me, so I didn't end up playing that really much.
Do you know what's funny about Lies of P? Again, that's on my. How many hours have I put into that? I'm on my 7th New Game Plus in that game. I've put 98 hours into it. It's very easy to replay through.
That's how far I went with Neo. I went with Neo and Neo 2, man. I've
not played Neo yet. Is it any good?
Oh yeah, if you feel like Souls games, man, like I think Neo 2 and to a lesser extent like the one the Wo Long one, I think they're the closest thing to like a Elden Ring-ish like in terms of the quality and like the quality of the combat and like that. No, yeah,
they
Neo
came around.
Neo 1 is fine, but Neo 2 is amazing.
I think Neo
did like 7 new game places on it. So
yeah, I think Neo came around at a time where because I remember Neo was kind of something that just brushed by, kind of like how Wolong is for me now. Is pretty much what Neo was like for me when I was in like college and high school. It kind of just passed by, and because I didn't have like my own money and my own like finance and stuff like that, and I wasn't able to buy it, it just kind of passed by me, and I never tried it, and I just never really saw anything from that apart from the second one's out now. I didn't really like try them out apart like after that time period, but it'd be cool to get back into them and try them.
I would definitely recommend those. Like I like them. I don't think there's another one that I put this many hours into as I did Elden Ring. I think I put more hours in Neo 2 actually than I did in Elden Ring even. And I loved Elden Ring more. Elden Ring's got a much better story. It's got more to do in it.
Elden Ring is phenomenal. If you look into the lore,
the thing about Elden Ring is every time you start it over, it still feels like a new game every time.
Oh yeah,
I don't know how it does that. Every time I started a new game, I still felt like I'd never seen it before, and that was the thing about it. Like whereas Neo is much more like patterns that you like learn the levels and you learn how to repeat them very easily. So it's much more memorized. And of course Bloodborne is amazing too. I mean, I don't know if there. But...
Yeah, I love Bloodborne. I will. Elden Ring is really cool to re-experience. And Elden Ring is one of those games where it's cool to re-experience because people tend to like mess around with all the different ways you can fight in that game. But also, on top of that, you get to re-experience the worlds that it throws you into. So you've got, like, the Lake of Liurnia. You've got, I think it's Kalim or Karim. Like, the blood area that's full of, like, those horrible dinosaurs and shit. You get to go back to the capital where all the gods were. And it's all of, like, it's like this angelic city that has a dragon that's collapsed onto it. It's brilliant. It's awesome to walk back through that world.
Wasn't that written by George R.R. Martin, or at least the story for Elden Ring?
Yeah, he helped design it, I think. I don't know how much of the writing he did, but I know that he helped design a lot of the stuff.
He designed the world for it, supposedly. Supposedly what he did is he created basically like, whenever like they create one of those big TV series and they make like a big Bible of all the stuff, he basically made like an Elden Ring Bible of the world. Like he basically created a history and like a whole lore type thing, and then they based the game off of that. That was according to like the interview I saw with him. That's what he did. He didn't like write the actual story that's in the game. He created the world that they evolved that from. So I mean which is pretty cool in a lot of ways. Like I mean it's kind of a weird thing to go to. Can you imagine to someone coming to me and like, I want you to make a world for me. I want you to like create like basically he wrote the Silmarillion for the Elden Ring world, if you've ever read Lord of the Rings, and like the Silmarillion is like this history textbook for a world that doesn't exist, that's kind of thing, that kind of thing.
Wait, but George R. R. Martin helped the Silmarillion?
What's that?
No, he was using it as an analogy.
Oh, okay, right.
No, I'm saying Tolkien wrote the Silmarillion as like a history text.
Yeah, I was gonna say I got confused.
For Middle Earth.
Yeah,
it's meant more supplementary.
Yeah, the book before the Lord of the Rings, the Silmarillion.
Yeah, I know about those books and like the stuff around it. I just didn't know. I thought I misheard. I thought George R. R. Martin helped with that. Yeah.
No. I'm just saying it's just very similar to that. It's like what George R. R. Martin did for Elden Ring is very similar to when Tolkien made his Silmarillion, because the Silmarillion was really like his reference world lore book. That's the reason why it wasn't published until way after. It was because it's posthumously published because he didn't intend it to be a book that people should read. It was for him.
Yeah, he wrote like little notes to himself down. He was doing it while he was in the war, wasn't he?
Yeah. That's why it's also why it's so unfocused and everything. It's basically a history textbook for a world that never existed. So
it's so hard to read too. It is like reading a text, like a history book, like
I liked it better than Lord of the Rings.
Well, yeah, the thing about Tolkien that I think is fascinating, and I think first of all the fact that his actual focus in academia is that he was I can't remember the name.
Yeah, it was language. He was trying to.
Yeah.
It was about the Elven language. He was trying to create.
Well, he didn't create just one. He created 5 different unique languages that are actually true languages that have entire grammatical structures and everything to them. The dude was like beyond, which is why he wasn't like, even like his good friend C.S. Lewis often made fun of him for the fact that his stories were so basic and. My favorite quote from C.S. Lewis of all time, and I quote C.S. Lewis constantly. My favorite quote from C.S. Lewis of all time was from one of the Inklings meetings where Tolkien was getting up to read a chapter at this time he was introducing the Lord of the Rings, the Lord of the Rings main book after he'd done the Hobbit, and Lewis was quoted saying, "Oh, not another fucking elf story."
I had a running joke with my my family, and it sort of like translated into like other minor jokes when I grew up because it was just like such a quotable joke. We had the box collection, like the really valuable one that has all the extras and everything, the one that's like 8 hours long or 10 hours to watch.
No, yeah, I used to have that too.
Yeah.
All my DVDs got sold a while back, but yeah.
One of them when you loaded it up was written in one of the languages. I think to go through that menu you had to translate it, and we always had that joke of just like, how am I supposed to, like, someone in our family would be like, how am I supposed to read that? And I'd be like, there are few who can.
It was Elvish, yeah. It was in Elvish.
Yeah.
He also wrote the language for Dwarvish, and he also helped. I'm not sure now. This is like rumored. It's actually not known for absolutely certain, but it's been rumored, never been admitted. It was never admitted by either one of them that Tolkien actually assisted Lewis with the Space Trilogy and creating the languages in the Space Trilogy, because Lewis was not a language expert but Lewis was a much better storyteller, but there's some really advanced linguistic stuff in the Space Trilogy that's and also the main character in the Space Trilogy is based on Tolkien, so it kind of makes sense that Tolkien may be assisted with that. I know that they were really close at the time he wrote it, so it's pretty cool. What they call Old Solar Tongue in the books. I'm a huge nerd for C.S. Lewis, and I could talk about it all day, so I'm gonna stop.
Oh, it's okay. I was going to say, like, there's no problem with being a nerd about this sort of stuff. I love it. My parents were like big in like Harry Potter and Lord of the Ring nerd stuff. Especially my stepdad. My stepdad is fully familiar with like the Silmarillion and all the other books from like the First and Second Age. I think my thing, I mean, obviously, is like the Dark Souls lore. I'm very familiar with a lot of it's a lot easier to digest because there's not a lot of like languages. There's not a lot of like history that you have to pay attention to. But like the history, I don't know if you're interested in it or not, but like, if you look into the history of and what happened throughout Dark Souls, it's very similar in terms of like Gothic medieval warfare and like gods fighting each other. It's really, really cool.
No, it really is. Like I had no idea that the lore in those things. I've watched the lore videos. I've seen the video stuff and everything, and it really is fascinating.
There's loads of lore on it, especially on YouTube. There's people who've made their entire channels dedicated to it. It's really fun to listen to. It's no different to me than like listening to the audiobooks of like Lord of the Rings and stuff like that. I sometimes put them up. There's one guy in particular that's known for it.
Video.
Yeah.
That's what I just said. Yeah, I've watched all this stuff.
Yeah, he's really good. Yeah.
He's actually and his voice is very soothing too, so that helps. Like it helps, like, you know, and he tells the
he sells it very well. Yeah,
he tells the stories very well. I mean, I sometimes I wonder how much he's just extrapolating or conjecturing about like what some of it is, because a lot of the lore is so vague that I don't know how he gets as much out of it as he does. But it's like, but he takes it, makes it into stories that are cool. We said like Hellblade. Just Frank mentioned Hellblade. That was a really good game. It actually, I started playing it though when I was going through a time with that was dealing with some of those issues, and so I never finished it because it literally upset me on a very deep emotional level at the time. So.
I know what game you're talking about. I've not played it, but I've heard like mixed things about it.
Well, it's about a girl with schizophrenia back in like the Viking days, and like she's delusional, and she's in the stage and she thinks she's fighting monsters through this whole thing and stuff like that.
I was going to say, isn't the whole idea of the story that she's like, is it? I would understand if it's like metaphorical, but like from everything I've seen about the trailers and stuff, it seems like an actual curse has taken hold of her.
No, it's that's the thing. That's the thing about it. Like that's where it goes. You have to get pretty far in it before that gets revealed. But yeah, it starts out like that. But it's actually they actually consulted an actual not just one or two, but several mental health professionals to get the details of schizophrenia and psychosis. Exactly right. I looked that up after I got to that point, and I was like, what the hell am I playing? And
went
cool. Back and found that like the was it Ninja Theory, I think they made the game. They're pretty cool dudes like that. I mean, their games they've made have been pretty the games they've made have been pretty decent, I think. I haven't played. I know that the new one is supposed to be really good too, but I haven't played it. I never played like those Plague Tale games out there that look very similar, but I never played those.
I was thinking of those. I was thinking like I didn't know if I wanted to ask or not because I'm happy just to carry on talking about this. Are they made by the same people? Because I know they looked very similar.
It might be the same team. I don't know, but like it's they just look they were just too depressing looking for me.
I love games like that.
I've had a rough couple of years with depression, mental health stuff myself. So I haven't been able to handle some of that stuff.
That would affect
At least Elden Ring is far enough, even though it's a dark world, it's far enough removed from reality that it doesn't like bother me.
Yeah,
it's like
it's not like
things are too real.
It doesn't take a lot of it doesn't take like a lot of inspiration from real life. It just like sets it kind of in medieval era and then adds a metric fuckload of fantasy to it. Yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah. No, I have to say like I feel bad that we're just talking about video games because Jeff doesn't know any video game stuff.
Oh no, y'all talk. It's good.
Oh, on that topic though, Jeff, if you
Elden Ring.
Say again.
I do want to play Elden Ring soon.
You haven't played it yet?
I haven't played it yet, man.
Oh, dude, I envy you. I envy you so much.
You have a good.
All that free time he has.
The first time you play Elden Ring, dude. The first time through that game. The second time's good too. Don't get me wrong. It still.
Yeah, but you can do it so much quicker.
Replay. Yeah. It's so much faster too, yeah. But the first time you step into Elden Ring and you start getting it, you start like getting your bearings and everything. Like, yeah, you'll get your ass kicked a couple times, like in any Souls game. I mean, it happens. But like once you kind of get the curve of it a little bit, and you start figuring out like oh, I can go here instead of and you realize that you carve your own path through it and everything like that, dude. It's there's nothing like it. It is the most immersive opening to a game I've ever played in terms of like I don't even like the term immersion. Like people say like it's so immersive. I didn't give a shit about immersion usually. I like the game to be fun more than I like to be immersive. But this like it puts you in like this like mind state that like I don't know. It's the closest thing to a real role-playing game I've ever played, and like it really makes you feel like you do enter this role and you do kind of become this character and you take on it's just nothing like it. It's amazing. I was never even a big George R. Martin fan, but I would have to say that like the world he created there, I think is way more impressive than way more impressive than Game of Thrones in my opinion. I mean, I honestly I've always thought Game of Thrones was I don't know. The characters are good. The characters are good, but the world is like whatever. It's not some amazing world that has never been done before. He has like four or five really great characters, and then he has a bunch of like just kind of like standard fantasy tropes, and then zombies. And then the zombies is really just I don't know. Ice zombies just don't impress me. I don't know, but like I was one of those people. I wasn't super disappointed the last season. I wasn't as disappointed the last season of Game of Thrones just because of the fact that I wasn't that impressed with the show in general. But still, it's still good. Fuck you. Fuck me for what?
I will say.
Not liking Elden Ring. Or not liking
I will say Elden. I don't know. The intro to Elden Ring, the way that you open into it, it's kind of like it's good. It just. I always wonder why you end up in that church before you fight the thing that sends you down the hole. Because I thought the intro to Dark Souls 1 was really good for that reason. Because they prefaced with the story why you're there. So the whole reason in Dark Souls 1 is that all the gods have like sorted out all the issues when the world was first made. And then the idea is that Gwyn has sent all of the undead into this prison so that they can't usurpate him, and like so that they can like repel this idea that like the chosen undead is going to come and take over the gods and like reissue the next generation of like life in that world. And you are the prisoner that someone sets free, and then you become that person. So that always like you're just chilling. You're just a like half dead dude in a prison, like that's been left to rot away, but you end up becoming that person. So that, I've always thought that was
it's cool. It really is.
So I think that immersion can help for stuff like that, because I think it makes the story more interesting, especially with the games like Dark Souls and stuff like that. I think in those games it makes a lot more sense for it to be like semi-immersive with the story, because a lot of, with that story being quite vague and told in like very like limited amounts, it makes more sense to make you immersed and give you like a driving point to want to discover what's going on.
Yeah, that's true. Did you by chance play Remnant or Remnant 2?
No, not yet. The gun Dark Souls, yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
I definitely Remnant 2. I think I just played them too close together, but I played the shit out of Remnant 1 after like years after it came out, because I didn't know I didn't know that it was that kind of game for a long time. Then I heard about it and I got it really cheap on sale, and it's really good. But
I think I got Revenant for free from Epic Games. They were giving it away for free, I think.
Oh, dude, if you want to get free games to try out all the time, yeah, just Epic Games is awesome for that.
Yeah, they do. They give away a lot of good games.
I
like I said, but I kind of Remnant, when Remnant 2 came out, I got it, and then that's right around the time I just kind of fell off gaming. I stopped. I don't know. Everything else in life just kind of like.
Yeah, I know.
I started streaming around the same time, and I just like I'm more entertained by streaming than I am by playing the games anymore.
Oh yeah, I know, dude. That happens. I'm going through a similar thing right now, where like I've got like 5 major games that I'm playing, and there's some days I come home and I'm just like, I don't want to play any of them. I want to, but I don't want to at the same time.
You a little stretched thin on 5 major games, man. I kind of go through one. I can only do one phase at a time.
It depends. It depends on what it is. It depends, because like sometimes there's companies that make like some really good games all at the same time, and I'm like, I want to try them out. I want to get them at least in my inventory and have them at the top so that I can come to them at some point. Yeah, the main ones are a lot of whenever a Dark Souls related game or a Dark Souls inspired games comes out, that becomes like the top of my priority. So like, oh god, I just remembered the one that I played recently, Lords of the Fallen. It was good. I like this new Lords of the Fallen. I actually really like it.
I didn't even get past the intro area before I was just like, I don't feel like playing this. I just put it down.
Yeah. The only, in regards to that, what I would say is that if you do some, I think a lot of the times is that for me personally, it felt like whenever I came home and wanted to play certain video games, it felt like they just consumed my life, and it inadvertently became a chore, because I would come home and play them nonstop, or I would play them for like hours and then go to bed. I think if you delineate from that and you do something in real life that gives you some kind of like balance between playing games or like endorsing in media, and then come back to that later when you've got free time, I think that's a healthy bonus. So like what I'm doing right now with my house is I'm like sort of like renovating and doing a lot of work around the house, so that takes up some of my time. I'm doing some other hobbies regarding art and media in my spare time that I do in real life and on social media, on like Discord and stuff. So when you do that and you take a break away from games and then come back to them later, you might actually find that you enjoy them, and that you might find that you're not as like, it doesn't become like a job to try and enjoy them. It comes natural, because it feels like you're rediscovering video games again. I would recommend that.
I know that's basically what I'm doing right now. I'm just taking a long break from it to see if like, maybe I'll be into it again. Before that happened, like right before COVID, I hadn't been playing games in a long time until I actually, I mean, in a lot of ways, video games kind of saved my mental health for a little while. I ended up playing Psychonauts 2 as a way to deal with some other stuff that was happening, because like I couldn't do anything about besides wait on, and I was waiting, and so I started playing Psychonauts 2 because I had Game Pass and it was on there, and that game like gave me enough entertainment and stuff like that. That's kind of what got me back into gaming for a little while, and
I will say the jokes. I'm not. Sorry, go on.
No, that's you're fine.
Oh, I was just going to say, I've seen the clips from Psychonauts. I've not played it, but I know that it's a very big, popular game. When I saw the transition from 1 to 2, I was like, wow, that game looks awesome. And then when I like saw clips and jokes from the game, I was like, okay, I need to play this.
It's fun.
It's so
fun.
quotable as well.
It's fun. It's fun. It's like old school. It's a really old school kind of game. You know, it has like that, like almost like N64 era kind of feel to it. It's it's got a really old school fun feel to it. And then like and then I would say that the other game that I would say that was I tried was Final Fantasy 16. I couldn't get into that, and I tried to get into I tried to play a lot of games like that, and I just can't seem to make myself. Oh, I got a phone call. I'll be right back, guys.
Yeah, no problem. I was just gonna say, Gen X Jeff, while he's on the phone, if you like board games, similar to what the box said earlier, I actually also really like Binding of Isaac 4 Souls. So tabletop is really good for that because tabletop is on Steam. Do you have Steam for video games?
Yeah, I have Tabletop Simulator on Steam.
Yeah.
I just don't know how to use it.
Oh, really? Right. Okay. Yeah. So if you go to Steam and you go to the store and you look at Tabletop Simulator, there should be a part on it called Workshop. So one of the problems and one of the criticisms that Tabletop Simulator gets is that it has a metric fuckload of DLC, which is like all the board games you can get. But nobody looks at those. Nobody likes those. Nobody thinks that they're useful because the community just goes, well, this platform and this engine that it uses is really easy to build around and like create from. So we'll just create our own board games. And so the people in the workshop made it their mission to make every single board game possible and then just put it on the community page in the workshop. So if you go to Workshop in Tabletop Simulator, there should be a tab that like takes you to the workshop where the community make and upload the content. You can put stuff on there, and when you follow it and add it, it adds it to the game. So then you can play that created game yourself. It's really good. I think, yeah, so Tabletop Simulator right now has 42 DLCs, which are all like very strange and spin-off kind of games that you wouldn't really see like in real life, which is kind of like the point of it, because that's what it allows you to do. It allows you to play like very niche board games digitally. But if you go to the community page, you can find things like Uno and Yahtzee and stuff like that if you really want to. It's really good for that. Tabletop is extremely good if you like board games, and it's one of the reasons why I really like it and why it's really well received, because it just acts as like a template for board games, and then the community goes, oh, okay, we'll make the board games for it.
So I have Cosmic Encounter Complete, which is from the workshop, but I still don't, and I have the one you buy from Steam.
I still don't know how to use it.
I don't know how to do the controls. I don't know how to deal cards. I don't know how to shuffle cards. Like just basic.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you need to learn that, unfortunately. Like, to learn to use the interface and to use Tabletop Simulator, that's its own thing. I think there's a tutorial in it or something now. But sometimes the games themselves come with manuals. Like, so that, you know, like when you open it up in the game, it comes with like the table and everything set up, doesn't it? Usually they have a manual you can look through. But if you go... If you're looking for like if the only thing you have is the thing you bought off the DLC page, I would highly recommend... hang on. Do you have to do it through the library?
I looked for a tutorial for Tabletop. In fact, Lib, one of our co-hosts, said he knows how to use it. He was supposed to run us through a tutorial.
Yeah. Yeah, right. So if you... Not in store, sorry. If you go to your library and go on Tabletop, there should be a little tab just underneath the title where it's like Store Page, DLC, Community Hub. On there should be Workshop. If you go to Workshop, it'll take you to the Tabletop Workshop, and it'll take you to a page filled with people who have made loads of games. People have made hundreds of D&D boards for this game. Like, you know, the campaigns that you can do in D&D. People have just skipped the middleman and gone, rather than giving like $80 to your local board game shop so that you can have like the Dark Souls game or something, they just made it and put it on this. So there should be like a little tab once you get to the workshop that says,
where is my library?
On Steam, if you click on library and you look at all your games, and then you search up Tabletop Simulator, you know where you would go to like open it.
Oh, you mean like actually open Steam? I'm on their website. You mean on Steam?
No, yeah, sorry. If you go to Steam and then you go to library and you find Tabletop Simulator, underneath where it says play, there's like the little bar with like all the things on it. On there, there should be Workshop, and that'll take you to the community page where you can follow and download all of like the different custom-made things that they've done on there.
Okay, well, I will try to figure it out because I definitely want to get some gaming going. We have a Discord.
Oh yeah,
I'm trying to start a gaming group.
Yeah,
I just
100%. If you go on.
Oh no, go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt.
That's right. I was just going to say, like, I was just going to recommend that it's very. If you like board games, like, this is it. This is the number one for PC. I would recommend it.
I was going to say that I just found out that this existed today. I just put the link in the chat there. This is old Wii game called Dokapon Kingdom that me and like my friends used to play. That's like it's basically like it's almost like a Mario Party style board game where you literally like, you roll dice and you have to go around the thing, but it adds like these role playing elements, and it has like this this aspect of it that literally will make you like hate
I've
the
seen this
game
before.
and like you hate your friends, hate your game because you can do like, if you get certain roles, you can like take everything away from like you're
meant to like
it's like a board game like Life or like Monopoly type thing.
Yeah, you're meant to like build up your
somebody.
Yeah, you're meant to like build up your economy and like take over the board, aren't you? It's kind of like Monopoly with a fantasy element.
You don't even like build. It's not even like there's not even like economy type things. It's more like, but you get like in RPG type battles with monsters and with each other.
Monsters, yeah, and you can like you can have like a set amount of money, and you can sometimes rest at the checkpoints to like regain your health and stuff, and then you travel around the board. Yeah, I've seen this. This does look pretty cool.
And this would be unfortunately it's $50, and I don't think it's like one of those games where one person can play, one person can own it, and everybody else can play together. But man, I would love to play this with everyone on the stream because like it's one of those games where people just get like really triggered about it.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you,
so triggered
any game like that, like Monopoly or anything like that, where you're meant to compete against each other to like build up value, like yeah, you're gonna make enemies. It's just it goes without saying that game, the Binding of Isaac 4 Souls is that 1-for-1 because the whole idea of that game is that you have a character that has an ability and you play through how the game works to get 4 souls, and things that you can do in the game involve killing the other player, stealing items from him, stuff like that. It's just the same. You're gonna make enemies.
Yeah, it was fun as hell. We had like we did like a Dokapon night for like a year with like four. It was only 4 players at the time. I don't know how many people can play at the time, but we had 4 people that would. Me and my wife, and then like and 2 of my other friends would come over and play it like at least once a week, and we would just like we would play it for like 4 or 5 hours, and almost every time somebody got mad and just like quit and left.
Yeah.
Just about every time. I mean, nobody was ever like mad, like it wouldn't like lose friends over it, but like I think that used to.
Oh no, yeah, of course.
I think it used to be the quote on the box though. It used to even say something like the best way to lose friends you've ever.
Wait, what game was it?
I put it in the private.
It's a board game.
Dokapon Kingdom.
It's a video board game called Dokapon Kingdom. It's
is it something we can play on here?
Yeah, it's something we could play on here, but it's that the problem is that it's $50 each for each.
Oh fuck! Why is it so high?
I don't know. It's just an old Wii game too. It's not.
I know it looks like a little cartoon.
They didn't even update the graphics. But it's fun. It's really fun because like like I said, it's got the RPG elements where you level up and you get to like fight monsters and stuff like that. But then you get into places where you get certain you land on certain squares, and like those squares give you like a power to like take whatever from somebody else, or you maybe run into the
it's very chaotic.
Or if you both land on the same square, you get to fight each other, and you fight until one of you wins. And if one of you wins, like literally, like if you kill one of your opponents, like they literally go back to the start. They're dead, and they have to completely respawn with nothing.
Yeah, it's like Mario Party where it's like very chaotically competitive.
Yeah, it's a lot of it was like I said that's like the last game I think I actually played. It was a couch co-op game back then, but that would be a hell of a lot of fun to play in the stream just because especially for all like the triggered folks around here. It would be really
people get very easily mad too. I was just going to say real quick, Jeff, were you going to say something earlier? Jeff and his dogs.
Yeah, I was just I was trying to repress my childhood memories of playing a board game called Trump.
Oh,
I remember that game. I didn't play it, but I remember it.
I might be remembering that wrong.
It was actually fun. I liked it. I liked it a lot. Actually, it was like Monopoly, but better.
Oh, is it? It is just called Trump the game. It's based on the president.
He had his own game. When
Everybody
thought he was like a real businessman and casino owner.
Yeah.
Right. I didn't know he had his own board game. That's kind of funny.
I was trying to repress this board game out. Like, you guys play Trump?
What's Cosmic Collapse?
We all played Trump for 4 years. I think we're all sick of Trump now.
He played us.
Yeah. Played a lot of people.
Man,
Like,
well,
It's what he's in trouble for now, isn't it? He played a lot of people. He's playing America.
Have you, any of you guys ever played
I think
Carcassonne?
all players,
Because like,
there's not one politician out there that's got any honesty whatsoever. And you know that's the bottom line. All these people, they all got their own agendas.
Yeah.
You think Trump has honesty? I mean, he has his agenda too. I don't know that it's stable.
Honest in the way that you tell somebody they look great when they really look like
Yeah,
shit.
that kind. Yeah, he's very raw.
He is in his way. He's honest in his way.
The best way to plow through the system is to give it exactly what it doesn't want. And every media source tells me not to. Every time people tell me Trump's a horrible person, I just want to vote for him more.
I mean, I think he is a horrible person, but I still, when I see what people do in reaction to him, it makes me want to vote for him too.
Yeah,
because they seem even worse.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I see that.
I'm careful to speak.
The more I watch, if I watch Trump, he's kind of like Tommy. He's entertaining.
Yeah, he's definitely a troll. I used to watch The
trolls
Apprentice
the White
too,
House.
so I knew his personality from there.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
That's the only thing I knew him from too. Well, actually, no, I take that back. I knew Trump from childhood because he was in like
he was like a news, like he was in Entertainment Tonight and all those like celebrity gossip stories, but I didn't know him. No, like you didn't get like a up close look at him.
But
he was just a figure.
He was the rich guy in Home Alone 2.
Yeah, I was just going to say. No, not 2. I think it was 1.
WrestleMania. He wrestled.
He was just. That's all I knew about him, like until like all the drama and stuff came up about his presidency in 2016. Is that he was in Home Alone making that comment about grabbing pussy. That's all I knew him from.
Man,
when you're a star, they let you.
Oh, it was Home Alone 2. Okay, I thought it was 1.
I always hate it's like he was bad enough. People didn't need to. All the pearl clutching people did over Trump was always so unnecessary because like, especially over like that thing. Yeah, was that like a crass, horrible thing to say? But I've heard guys like I've even heard liberal people say way worse stuff in private than anything I've ever heard Trump say. I mean, like everyone says horrible stuff like that in private because like when you're amongst friends and people would make jokes and stuff like that. I've heard people that like that would would never even think of voting for Trump make jokes and say things that would make Trump blush. I mean, I don't understand. Like I never understood like how they just felt like they had the right to be offended about him because he was running for president. And that's a
well, no, I think
anybody, like,
people especially any woman, would be offended by that comment. No matter
I don't think it has to be like I think it's weird because I think sometimes the way that people talk about politics in America when they talk about Trump, I feel like it's very like sports minded. I think it's like a lot of it is like offended and fighting each other. I think there's very valid reasons why people don't like Trump.
I do too. I just think I thought the pearl clutching over certain things was just ridiculous, though.
Oh yeah, no, like
they would
I'm sick of some of the stuff they do.
That said that. I don't even
I'm
think
sick
that was
of
something.
Yeah, I'm sick of it. Like I'm sick of people on the left sometimes as well, especially when it comes across on Twitter. It's like sometimes it does get ridiculous. But one of the things that I'm always reminded of is that it's like you kind of get the same people on both sides. People just don't acknowledge it.
Yeah. It really is.
From anyone is unacceptable, man. That's how I feel about it. I mean, you got to be a centrist. That's the way to be.
Yes, absolutely.
I think the main thing
you're gonna go down the road of extremism like in China or extremism like in Germany in 1939.
Yeah. I think I actually looked into it at one point. I think the most interesting but like kind of sinister thing I looked into that he was going to do for his presidency in 2016, like an actual valid reason that I had, not just like, oh, like look at what he says, look at it, like not all that stuff, but like an actual valid reason. I can't remember the act or the legislation he was going to pass now, but there was one a while ago that he wanted to push for that allowed people in his class and stature to create lawsuits with people in like working class and lower class. He wanted to open up the class boundaries so that they could have court cases with people with much lower salaries. And it was really sus because on paper it wasn't something that was explicitly bad, but when people looked into it, what they realized is that someone with Trump's money and background wanted to advocate for the ability to create class action lawsuits against people who maybe earn like $30,000 a year, which is extremely dangerous because Trump can throw that money away and just take those people to court at the threat of like making them bankrupt. And he can throw that money away. He doesn't have to think about it. He doesn't. It's not about winning or losing. But what he has the ability to do by doing that is threaten them into silence by threatening them with bankruptcy because of all of like the fines and fees that come with taking someone to court like that, like lawyers and stuff. That was really dangerous to me. I thought that was very oof.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Sundude, what country are you from?
I'm from the United Kingdom. I'm unfortunately our politics aren't as like colourful and fancy as you guys. It's not as.
Is it Scottish? What part of you?
No, English.
Oh, English.
Yeah.
Yeah, you sound English to me, but I don't know. That's what I assumed.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, English.
That's cool. I'm glad we're starting to get more of an international audience. Like we've mostly had.
Yeah, I think he's our first Brit. We have plenty of Canadians. We don't need any more Canadians. I think he's our first Brit.
Yeah, I came here because I knew about MC Nemesis, but also I heard word of Jack Talcott and the stuff he talks about, and the stuff that he talks about is kind of cool because like the spiritual concepts and philosophies that he brings up are cool because they tie into like that arts and media project I was talking about I do in my free time, and a large element of it is spiritual, so it's cool to listen to Jack and some of the stuff he has to say because it does tie into that and give some decent inspiration towards that in terms of like quotes, things to think about, philosophy. I think some of that stuff's really good.
Yeah, definitely.
It's just a shame that Talcott it's just a shame that Jack streams at like, for me, like 11:30 at night so I can't really watch him.
Oh, okay. What time is it there now?
Right now, it is. I'm on GMT, so it's nearly 9:30 at night now.
Oh,
okay. That's not too bad. Yeah, that's kind of prime time hours for a lot of people. So that's good.
Well, well, that's kind of why I like the idea of watching this stream every now and then before I go to bed because I see this and I get the chance to watch this and listen to some of the things that go on. And you guys are tied to Jack and have similar conversations, but it happens at a time where I can watch you for like an hour or two and then go to bed without losing any sleep.
Plus, our stream is better. So.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. Talcott is really good at whatever the little special thing he does is.
No,
like
I know. I'm just
spiritual comes close to it.
I think Jack makes some decent, compelling, some pretty compelling thoughts towards.
It's just so naive. Like he's gonna save the planet by converting everybody to the spiritual love for everyone. It's gonna all happen in his lifetime.
I don't think it's a case of like he wants to convert everybody. He just wants to because I think Jack
is just a super nice guy. It feels like he doesn't really say anything.
He's very likable. He's very
Y'all
likable.
haven't seen Werewolf Caught. He came out yesterday.
Yeah.
I know that he can get. I've started noticing that recently. He does he gives off the idea that he's not very easy to like upset, but he can be at times, which is understandable. It's fair. But I think
he can sometimes be very easy to upset. Unfortunately,
I think Jack wouldn't be against it. I don't think the thing that I like about Jack is that I think he's very evangelical, but also doesn't mind the idea of people not really being into Christianity or whatever. He's like, that's fine. It's just if we could talk about it and consider the ideas, that's fine. I think that's admirable. I think
you could talk about it, consider it, as long as you reach his conclusions. He already has his.
He does have some.
He's there to bring you up to his conclusions. It's not a dialogue.
Well, the problem that I've seen on his panels a lot is that there are people who come on and like disturb the flow of the conversation a little bit and make it a bit confrontational.
Yeah, because he lets the trolls on.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, I know that much. Yeah,
that's why we don't let him on here.
Yeah. But no, I think Jack's fine. I think he just needs to take more control over his panel and because the thing that really annoyed me a while ago, back in December around Christmas time, was that he would kick people off who were deliberately trying to disturb the flow of the conversation and just
then he'd bring them right back on.
Yeah, he'd bring them back on. That was kind of dumb. But if we're talking about just I think Jack is really good at having a likable, charismatic conversation about spiritual things and ideologies and philosophy, and I think he would be perfect if he was okay with the idea of people coming away from those conversations and not agreeing with him, but still having that conversation. I think that'd be fine.
Yeah, I think he is good at that. I mean, I don't agree with most of what he says. We have
same.
Perfectly
same.
civil
There's some things that I disagree with. There's some when I think some of the messaging that he has is good, but when it starts tying into some of the more material stuff around society and the government and stuff like that, I think there are some not hypocrisies, but some conflicting ideas.
How about, like,
Yeah, I just think he's naive. Like, he wants to get rid of capitalism and the economy, and we're all gonna. He said we're just gonna figure it out. We'll all figure it out together because we'll all love and care about each other.
I'm all down for the Star Trek feature, but we don't have that technology yet.
I think that's it's not. I don't think it's about technology. I think it's about what humans do society-wise. I think that's a difficult conversation to have, especially with people who are spiritual, because it requires a very, very drastic and very monumental level conversation about the things that we want as a society and how we want to move forward. It's very difficult to have that conversation just in general if you don't believe in the spirituality and you don't believe in all that stuff.
Yeah, and I've asked him that before. I'm like, Jack, what about people that don't subscribe to your spiritual beliefs?
It's kind of like it's unintentionally like a backwards, like a double-edged sword, because it's a cool conversation to have, but if you don't know how to have it and you're expecting to solve that on the spot, it's very difficult because it incorporates a lot of social dilemmas and problems. It's really difficult to discern what needs to be done on the spot because, as well, I don't know if you've noticed, but capitalism and communism has a lot of very problematic things that they follow. There's a lot of problems and flaws.
Capitalism less so, and it has a lot of strengths as well.
Yeah, both sides do, but right now it's easy to say that it's right.
Communism
right now, it's really
scale.
Easy to say
capitalism does.
Yeah, well, I can make the argument that capitalism might have more, but that's because we've seen it for so long and we've seen it in power for a while and we've seen it benefit our society for a very long time. So it's easy to speak on capitalism. I think that's something that people forget when they have these conversations. It's very easy to say that capitalism works because we've been living in it for the past few centuries.
It's also very hard to justify or come up with any real scenario where capitalism can even, communism can really even happen, though. That's the main problem. Yeah. Is how do you even get there? How do you get to communism? Because communism requires either authoritarianism and requires basically a fascist type, dictator type government in order to keep it in line, or it requires everyone to suddenly come to the exact same conclusion, which never happens. Yeah. And all agree to work together in this specific way. And that's the problem with it. I as I've said before, I would love to believe in a world where communism was possible, because it sounds like a beautiful type of thing to have. Although I do have some serious questions about a world that's that utopian, where that basically there would have to be a world that would have no conflict, it would have no
that's the joke, isn't it? It's like that's the running joke, isn't it? It's like all these countries that have done communism. The running joke is that they haven't done communism properly. So I know all of them have done it. All of them haven't done it properly. The idea that we have communism is fine.
They've done it the only way you actually can, because you can't just do communism. You can't just say we're communists now, and unless every single person in your country all is like, oh yeah, it's communism. That's exactly what I want to do. I want to do exactly what's good for everyone, and I'm going to ignore the needs of myself and my family specifically, in order to work for the greater good exclusively. If every single person on the planet agreed to that, then yeah. Communism, great, good. Everyone's all on the same page. We all agree that we're all doing that. We're all on this thing, and not one single person. There's no psychopaths. There's no sociopaths. There's no people that are going to buck the system because they can. There's no people that's going to take advantage of the system because they can. There's no people that are going to. Everyone has to be a perfect good person and do the perfect good thing, and without authoritarianism getting involved. Otherwise, you need strongman type politics. You need Hitlers, and you need Stalins, and you need people like that.
And you need a volcano
to literally get rid of all of the malcontents until you have nothing left but the pure good people. But then you start getting paranoid. But what if we didn't get all the pure good people? What if I don't know, that guy kind of looked at me funny.
It's a very difficult discussion to have, because a lot of what we know in terms of leading a society is that we need a leader, and by definition, a lot of communism requires a lot of unity in terms of the community, so it's very difficult to make that argument because it does leave a lot of vulnerability towards the people and the leader that's in charge. It gives a lot more power over the people when there's someone in charge of a communistic country. I was going to say as well, it's metaphorically, if I was going to say the way the discussion on communism, it's very difficult because what you're essentially asking for is everybody in the country is a cog in this machine, And you're saying, well, it'd be better if we replace the machine with this new machine. But all the cogs are compatible with that first machine. So to say that that's how we should now run the machine is really difficult, because those cogs are meant for that machine. And that's why people get very combative as well when talking about communism.
That's the thing is that right now capitalism is a machine in which there are a lot of people that don't. There are a lot of cogs, if you want to call them that don't really work.
It's just it's not an insult. It's just like for the metaphor.
I know. I get the metaphor. I'm saying that there are a lot of cogs that don't fit very well in the machine. That's the reason why they want another machine. They want another machine because they want one that feels like that will benefit them, as opposed to one that. I mean, I'm poor as shit. I mean, I'm basically like that's. I live on food stamps. I have internet for basically for free because I have food stamps. I think most of the things like I'm living on government assistance right now because I'm disabled. My wife is disabled, and like it's just one of those things like where a lot of bad things happen really quickly, and we went from being pretty much like lower middle class to being like below the poverty line like within less than a year. So I mean it was very it's been a hard transition from that, but I've never been really rich my whole life. I was born poor, and like I've been poor my whole life. So I mean, like I understand those people are coming from. Don't get me wrong. I understand how capitalism fucks people over. I get it all, and at the same time, I there isn't a way that I can understand. And I'm a fairly intelligent person. I'm not a genius maybe, but I'm a fairly intelligent person that can like at least look around and see that like my solution personally is like what is being talked about right now in the comments right now is that my solution is community building, small communities, and I think that small communities and multiple small communities. I think communities don't have to be isolated from each other. Communities can work together and stuff like that. But communities, small communities that build together and build have similar goals and similar purposes and everything that work together actually can create something close to the closest thing you can get to something like what they want with communism. It's just not going to change the money thing. It's not going to change things like that. But people that work together and actually help each other and actually do have a common goal, a common purpose, that will give people a lot more to live for, and it's there. I guess what was it? We said somebody brought up the term communitarianism the other day, and that was interesting. That's the first time I'd ever heard that before. And even though I didn't like the ultimate definition of it, but I do like that as almost like a name for like what I envision as like a thing. And that's something that we can actually. The thing is about my idea is it's something I can actually start to do. I can actually start building communities. I can actually start making those connections. I can actually start fostering that kind of environment, that kind of world.
Community.
Whereas with communism, it's all top-down stuff. You have to take over the government. You have to take over this. You have to do this. So there has to be violent, bloody revolution, pretty much, in order for it to ever happen in the first place.
I think. Go on.
Yeah. Go on. No. Go on.
Are you another commie, son?
Me? No, I'm not.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
My take on it has always been that a lot of the problems that we have right now are a lot of things that we could... I think the problems that we have right now that people tend to point to communism as the solution tend to be a lot of things that we can fix on our own. It's just difficult for the similar reason that you would like... Similar reason to communism is that it would require a lot of people to be on the same board and on the same boat. And that's something that a lot of people have a problem with because there's so many different drastic levels of social and class states that people are in, that it's really difficult to be on board with what everybody's saying and agree with everything about what needs to be done, which is like, because I was going to say, like, from the look of what communitarianism is, like just from what I've looked it up, that can exist under capitalism. It just means to be more in tune with your community and help them out a lot more, which is something that people encourage a lot more. So like people who are going out there and like being these like really people who are going out there and being like these spokespeople for like what is the best life and stuff like that, the thing that's talked down to a lot by people like Jordan Peterson and stuff like that is that they need to like clean their own rooms and help their own communities first, and that they don't need to do that. And I think if everybody was on board with that, that we'd solve a lot of the issues that we have in terms of like poverty, class difference, race, stuff like that. And a lot of that would be solved just by doing that, but a lot of it tends to sway just from all of the different kinds of people that exist out there and all the different things that people want to solve and all the different things that people want to do with their lives. It's really difficult because there's so many things, so many different views and so many different things that people want to... It's a human error. You're not going to have everybody in the world agree on certain problems, especially with it, even just in their local areas and counties. A lot of people don't tend to agree on the same problems, and so it's really difficult to solve the world issue of like whether capitalism or communism should rule, when a lot of people can't really solve what's going on in their own states and what their own counties because of their lack of awareness for their own rooms, their own lives, and like the fact that they haven't even contributed to their own community first to help better understand the issues.
Absolutely, or at very least finding a community or building one or whatever the case might be. It's like. And with Jordan Peterson is a good example, because like I think he gets completely misconstrued somehow as he gets called a fascist and a Nazi and all these things that I don't understand at all, because nothing he talks about is anything that's in those ideologies at all. But still he gets lambasted for that shit all the time, and like I think that all you really need to do is that's the reason I talk about small communities. Like building, like I'm not talking about like they don't have to be like 3 people, but small little communities that you can build up, and you can build a base with it, like that sort of thing, and you have groups and you have. What's that?
Like a foundation, you got to build the ground floor, right?
Yeah, you got to build a ground floor, and the thing is that can work within capitalism just fine. So for that matter, you can start a commune within capitalism. You can find, if you have the money or you inherit a farm or something, you can start your own little commune and live on a commune with a bunch of other communists and live a communist lifestyle where you all farm and you all do equal work and stuff like that. And those places exist right now in the country. You can do that in a capitalist society. What you can't do in a communist society is create a small capitalist village, because that is a threat to the entire communist state. Like communism.
I was going to say, let me ask your opinion on this. And I'm a capitalist at heart. I bought my property. I don't do debt. I don't rent anything. Like I own my cars and
good for you, man. So, good for you. I wish I had this in the same position.
It's tough to do. I don't have a mortgage payment, and I'm 40, about to turn 42, but I'm about to drop about fucking $16,000 to get a fucking dental implant because I got tooth problems. So,
$16,000?
Yeah, no, dental shit is so expensive. I know.
Oh my God.
I've broken 14 because
okay, that would like tilt me toward
what
socialism.
I was universal healthcare.
Suddenly, I want to be equal and have everyone else's face.
Well, when it comes to healthcare, nobody should have to pay $16,000 for teeth.
Right.
The healthcare stuff is an issue. I know
agree on that, right? Like,
yeah, we do. Yeah, no, I am all for universal healthcare.
So why aren't governments more geared toward providing us healthcare than they are starting all these fucking wars?
Some of them are. Like some of the states that have expanded Medicaid have done a really good job.
Well, it's really important that we give several $1 million to like the Sudan for transgender research, though. If we don't do that, then who knows what might happen. you see some of the things they snuck into like that fucking like stimulus bill that were in there, like when it came out. Did you see like that one of them? I don't think I said the exact right thing, but one of them was like some little country in the Middle East. There was like there was earmarked like some like $30 million or $1 billion or some ridiculous amount of money for researching for transgender research over in some Middle Eastern country that was snuck into like the freaking like stimulus bill and stuff like that. And like it's just yeah, it's just it was beyond nuts. And like it's like yeah, we don't have money to do healthcare, but we do have money to fund all this other. And I'm sure that like that money didn't go to anything like that. These are just ways that they just use, in my opinion. I think it's just ways they just use to like to kind of like skim a little off the top here for this. Skim a little.
Can't they just extract the tooth?
Oh yeah, they could extract the tooth, but then I'll be missing one of my chompers, man. I don't want to miss one of my chompers.
Oh, is it not? It's not the back.
It is the back.
Well, even losing teeth at the back, like if people losing adult teeth, especially when they lose one, because a lot of people who suffer from dental issues tend to not just have the one tooth that's missing; it tends to be like an area. So when they lose one tooth, usually that's not the end of it. It's usually a bunch of others, because you imagine it like an infection; it does spread, and there's usually like, especially when it comes to alignment and stuff like that, it tends to affect the whole jaw. So it's not just as easy to take one tooth out, because sometimes that doesn't solve the issue, and sometimes you need an expert to like talk about that and like let you know what the problem is, because it might not just be as simple as one tooth. I envy the people who just have one tooth they have to fix and that's it, because that's usually not the case. I know
how you feel.
I was just gonna say, I've got some other work I need done too. my new dentist wants to remove. I have like a bunch of fillings, and he wants to just remove a bunch of my fillings and put crowns in too. But I and I've been to a couple of different dentists. But
depending on how many fillings that's not actually a bad idea.
That would be the cheapest option, but it's a quality of life thing for me. And in my personal opinion, like it's one of the teeth, and the other dentists agreed with me. Like it's a chewing teeth, and I like to eat a lot of steak and decent food, and it's just
Well, that's fine. You just need to take care of your teeth afterwards.
Yeah,
I try to take care of my teeth, man, and it's my crippling addiction to sugary drinks. But
I like sugary foods.
My teeth. I had perfect teeth, or not perfect teeth, but I had strong, good teeth my whole life until I got vertigo. I got this chronic vertigo from after I got the Fauci ouchie, as as they say. I got the vax, and it had the unfortunate side effect of. I think the theory my neurologist agreed with was that she thinks that what happens is that basically, because the way vaccines work is that they give you a little bit of the thing, so your body can fight it off. And she thinks that, and because because of the way that happens, it works with the mRNA and all this stuff, and they don't fully understand they don't understand the mechanism entirely behind it. Basically, it gave me long COVID, and so like I have like permanent long COVID right now. And the vertigo, since I got the vertigo, I have knocked out 4 teeth on each side of my 2 front teeth. See there? I'm missing 2 teeth on either side. I've knocked out 4 teeth and broken a rib. So yeah, I know exactly what you mean. I doubt that I will ever be able to afford to get those teeth caps or replaced or anything like that. There's very little chance I'll ever get that enough money for that. So I just
good thing you have the shades and the cool hat to make up for it.
Yeah. Actually, it actually once the 4th one got knocked out, I was actually it evened it out a little bit, so it's not nearly as noticeable now. It was a lot more my teeth missing was a lot more noticeable when I had just like I had 3 teeth missing, because now that's even.
You can get a gold grill.
There you go. Yeah, I get like a fake rhinestone like grill that says has like my it says
Just
become
a rapper.
Live.
I have rapped before. I have rap songs. We play them on the stream sometimes. So
cool,
I'm not a good rapper.
He is a white boy rapper.
I'm a white boy rapper.
Very white boy.
The only thing I was going to say in regards to the dental stuff, someone brought it up earlier as an option. And I thought it was interesting. Someone talked about how you could possibly go to Mexico or another country to get the operation done, or to get like the dental work done cheaper. And I've heard sometimes that does work. Sometimes, but I've also heard in some cases it's similar to cosmetic work that like women have done, in the sense that if you go to certain countries and have it done cheaper, a lot of those people aren't like certified or qualified in their field, and they're not that good, and they're like a lot of like new people who in other countries who are doing that, and they're not consistent with their work.
Mexico,
so I think it could work. I just think you'd need to, if you were going to do that, you'd need to take extra steps in research to make sure you're not going to get fucked over.
Cuba actually isn't a bad choice.
I've heard a lot of like trans people going down to like South American countries to like get their surgeries and stuff done like that. I can only imagine like going down to get to get a penis added, and you just get an extra vagina. So.
Well, Jeff, you were bringing up the dentist stuff to ask a larger question about.
Yeah. I mentioned hi, Lib. We haven't even like acknowledged Lib's.
No.
I did acknowledge it.
I didn't. Nope. I'm sorry.
Hey, there's another person up here. I didn't even realize it.
It's our commie, resident commie.
I kind of wanted to talk about like one of the things that you had said earlier is that we can't get anybody to agree on anything, but we all here agree that we all need healthcare, right?
Yeah. I think having a universal healthcare that's like affordable and feasible would be a really good option for anybody.
Oh yeah, I'm completely on board with universal healthcare, absolutely 100%.
If the roles were swapped and we were in a communistic country and we had capitalism, we were like arguing against capitalism, it'd be the exact same way, wouldn't it? We'd still want some kind of like fallback from the government supported so that we could essentially stay healthy.
Yeah, I mean, just a mindset to capitalism outside of healthcare, because the morality of making money off of people's lives is something that should be carefully considered when, we have shifted our focus in our medical industry now to where I don't feel like they want to cure us. They just want to treat us. They want to make life a subscription service. They want to make it so that you have to rent the ability to live, This is my personal opinion, but I just feel like the whole mindset is so messed up. Like you go to a doctor, it's like you got to choose between the McDonald's doctor or a real doctor if you really want somebody to treat you like you should be treated.
I've heard mixed things because I've heard because obviously with people like not understanding how capitalism works and understanding that like because they're in charge of like healthcare, you could make that assumption. But I know from experience with people who like family who've worked in healthcare, some of it is down to the fact that because they have so many kids. Because if you imagine it, the healthcare is serving the entire population in wherever it's based. So there's a lot of people who you'd be surprised how big a number that is that of people that need that kind of healthcare. So like one of the things that we have, one of the jokes and like the running gags that we have in our country is like you call 999 and you'll get an ambulance like 2 hours later, and it's because of like the limited resources and the limit and like the amount of people that need that in that area, depending on where you are.
I know.
So I know that exists too. So it's really difficult to say whether it's one thing or the other because I know that exists too.
And and there's the same people that talk about universal healthcare laws also worry about overpopulation. They don't tend to notice the fact that if we did have universal healthcare and everyone could be healthy all the time, people would start living a lot longer. They'd probably have a lot more kids, and overpopulation actually might become an actual issue. So
why do you think?
What are you talking about? That's why we need to get to space.
Why would healthcare be an exception to communism? Like, why would it work there, but not anywhere else?
Did someone who said that?
Well, specifically, I was mostly asking Chris.
Oh, okay.
You're still asking me. Okay, I didn't know you were addressing me. Okay.
I mean, it was sort of an open question, but you're kind of the one that I was thinking about mostly when I.
Sure. I mean, it might be coming from mostly an emotional place, perhaps. I don't know how to put it. I went through the system. I don't see an advantage, like whereas in almost every industry that we have in this country, I see the advantage of competition and the fact that like that you get the best people with the best medicine, the best people, or something like that would be the theory that's why capitalism needs to be there. But in my experience, and it's anecdotal, and I'll give it that. So it's like I'm not claiming it as a definitive idea. It's just an opinion. But whenever my wife got sick and we went and I had insurance and I had good insurance too. I had like the kind of insurance that covered everything. Amazon had amazing insurance and stuff like that. And I chose their highest tier of it and everything. And so like we could go to any doctor. I took her to so many different doctors and I got no help or no real sense of care or anybody seemed to give a shit at all about what was happening until like we lost everything. Lost my job, lost the insurance, had no money, ended up finding a free clinic where we found people that actually gave a shit and cared and gave her and got her on medication that helped her like literally the next day. So I went through 2 years of paid healthcare stuff that got us nowhere. And whereas like once we were actually at a clinic for people that were working there because they cared about people and not for the money. They weren't doing it because these doctors can make a lot more money in a private practice or something like that. And it just occurred to me that being a doctor is one of those things that if you want to be a doctor and you really want to be a doctor, you want to help people, you're going to do it no matter what. The profit motivation doesn't need to be there, and the profit motivation in healthcare ends up incentivizing a lot of people that don't even have any business being doctors, that don't give a shit about people. They just want it because it's a high-paid profession, and they want to be there to make the most money they can, and therefore it's almost a negative in healthcare as opposed to just about any other industry. I mean, I guess there might be a case where you might see like there might be a case of like I've heard of like there's certain surgeons. They're basically psychopaths that they say that they're, like that are just amazing surgeons because of that. I guess there are edge cases, I'm sure, that are different. But in my experience of what I've seen, the doctors that actually really care are not the ones that are there to make money, or not the ones that are the ones that basically I've had doctors help us for free because we needed help. I mean, and this and that, and like I just don't see I no longer see the advantage in capitalism being a motivating factor in getting better healthcare in this country.
What do you mean by caring? Because all I need a doctor to do is to treat my condition. I don't care about his feelings. I don't care if he's a sociopath or if he feels warm and fuzzy while he's doing it. I just need him to be good at doing it.
If they actually care, but they need to care about the patient they're taking care of. Otherwise, they're not
care in
really
what way? Like
specifically the lack of care that makes you a good surgeon.
To actually look at.
That's what any good. That's competency. That's what any good doctor would do.
Incompetency, but I meant nothing but incompetent doctors.
And if capitalism's not incentivizing it, that's a fault with the doctors or the healthcare.
And actually, it is because that government insurance pays more consistently and entirely than private insurances. You're more likely to skip out on your portion of the bill.
Can I perhaps make a economic argument for socialized medicine?
Sure.
Please do.
Okay. No, I mean, I think it's reasonable because in the same way that we have, for instance, the fire department, right? Or socialized roads, right?
Or police or whatever like that.
Or police or any other service that the government offers. Usually, when we have government offer services, it's because giving that power over to private entities creates problems, right? And part of it's because for healthcare, healthcare has an inelastic demand, right? Like you
Sort
don't
of.
like.
There's a lot of elasticity around the edges.
There's elasticity around the edges, but like for like life-saving healthcare, there is zero elastic demand. Like if you know, for somebody who needs insulin to live, you know, they will pay however much they need to get that insulin, because if they don't,
there's a difference between healthcare and the other ones. But I'll let you finish it. But there's a difference that makes them not comparable in this situation.
Well, I mean, I don't think they're exactly comparable, but I mean, I do think that, like, for instance, firefighting. I think firefighting is actually a great example, because there was a time when firefighting in America was a privately run industry, and it wasn't good, because people would sometimes, if they didn't have their fire insurance, their house would burn the fuck down. And if you're in cities, it's even worse, because your house might burn down, and if they don't put out the fire, it catches on to the next one, and suddenly you have an enormous fire because you didn't have people set up to just put out fires, period.
Correct.
In a similar way, you can have, like, completely out of control disease. I mean, hell, we can look. We fucking COVID affected places with socialized medicine, just like it affected places.
It was a political phenomenon, not a health one.
I mean,
COVID was health.
It was a health.
It was a global pandemic.
It was the problem was the problems were political.
No. I agree. The like bigger like problems. I mean, obviously a lot of people died too, but so that was the health problem. But like,
it's the flu. But it doesn't matter. We don't need to get hung up on it.
Yeah.
I can see the argument that it's both. The point is, though, that the healthcare industry, the demand just isn't elastic enough to provide for capitalism to provide its most benefits to the industry. Because I do think capitalism can provide benefits to industry. I think competition actually can be really good. The problem is, like, in the same way that we could have private firefighting companies who do this, however, there wouldn't be a lot of competition, and we would definitely, I guarantee you, we'd run into problems.
The problem with the price, the reason that healthcare is so astronomically expensive right now is because there's not any competition in it. There's a massive barrier to entry for every step of healthcare.
And there's no transparency.
Well, no transparency. There's no competition. There's massive barriers to entry.
So it is
transparency would be a huge step.
It is worth noting, those barriers to entry aren't arbitrary. Okay, those barriers.
They're too extreme. I guarantee you could have somebody replace.
What are you talking about?
I mean, it doesn't matter. It does matter. Actually, they're massively, they're a big problem. They're the whole problem, in my opinion, is the barriers to entry. You have a singular certifying board that is owned by big pharma. It's that's the problem in my mind. Before I forget it though, about the tooth thing, I was going to suggest you look at dental hospitals dental schools. They normally have students that can do dental work on you for like half the price.
Oh yeah, actually, that's not actually a bad idea. Seriously, like Google the nearest dental school near you and then contact them.
My girlfriend did it, and they did a good job on her.
Yeah, and you got to think about it like that. Like the medical students, they actually have something to prove in that case. You know,
Yeah.
they have a stake in it. Like I would more trust a medical student in that kind of situation than I would a dentist that's been in practice for a long time, because like at that student really needs to prove his worth in that situation. You know, he needs to show that he's a good dentist. You know,
I would imagine you get both. You get both, don't you? Because there would be a professional or someone who's medically trained watching over them as well. They're not just there to just do it and wing it.
Exactly. Yeah, that sounds like a really good option there. And so you know, like my experience with the thing with what I went through. I mean, what I saw is like my wife. You know, they put her in a mental hospital. Supposedly, they took her to a mental hospital because of the breakdown she was having, and they put her in essentially what was a drug rehab facility, even though she was not on any drugs and she tested negative for drugs every time. They gave her no medication to help with even though they diagnosed her schizoaffective disorder. They gave her no medication for schizoaffective disorder. Didn't even try any such thing on her. She was in the hospital for the first time for 2 weeks or so, 2.5 weeks, until like they just kicked her out, and they did absolutely nothing for her the entire time she was there, because that's where I'm going to explain this, because of the care thing that you were saying, because the doctors that were looking at it, they see the same kind of thing all the time. They see like most of these things are people that are drug addicts and stuff like that. They just look at it like, oh, she's another drug addict. They just
but you just said she tested negative for drugs.
Yeah, but they didn't matter. And as far as they're concerned, if you're someone who's
that's what I'm calling incompetency. If they can see that he's negative for drugs and still say, "Oh, it's drug," then they're just incompetent.
But at the same time, whenever we went to like the clinic that was like the local free mental health clinic and everything, they took an interest in her. They asked her the questions. They immediately gave her medication, and like by the next morning, she was back to her normal self. I mean, 2 years. I lost 2 years of my relation with my wife.
I would have not paid him a penny. I would have filed a complaint, and I would have gotten a patient care advocate involved.
It was on insurance, and then they extorted.
I would have still done all three of those things.
Well, I guess I should have, but I was, you know.
But
and
you can call your insurance. The anecdote. I agree with Jeff. The anecdote doesn't have anything to do with the economics of it.
You're right. I was just explaining where I was coming from. I'm not saying that I'm 100% right about this. I'm not.
Get your brain up here and out of here, motherfucker.
Sorry.
I think it's the same brain.
No, you're good. Correct. Flo. I think we don't disagree about a lot of the problems with healthcare. I am curious, like genuinely, what do you think would make the system better?
I think that if we deregulated the fuck out of it, I mean, you've heard the history of the healthcare system, how we got here, and the I don't remember. Right. So if we just unraveled the whole fucking monopoly,
I'm not a fan of our healthcare system.
Right. I think that it would be messy at first, but I think that as things things would normalize, and that you'd end up with a much better healthcare system where you've got a lot more different options of treatments, and most of them are not a byproduct of the chemical weapons industry.
Do you think instead of deregulating, because deregulating can have a lot of very negative effects. I'm not saying that it only has negative effects, but I am saying it is true that there are issues with deregulation. Could it be possible to just instead first break up a lot of these bigger pharma companies? Because a lot of the companies, we might argue, some of their issue might be monopolization over the industry.
Well,
and like I'm fine. Like I'm fine with competition. I like competition in capitalism, but you have to have like actual competition, not this like fake, oh, we're 2 or 3 big corporations in this industry and we're quote unquote competing.
Right.
Like
everything's owned by BlackRock and Vanguard, basically, anyways.
Yeah. But like both of us, even I understand that you're very much a capitalist, but even you have to understand that, like, look,
antitrust regulatory capture, though. I mean, do you believe that the regulation or the regulating entity actually does any good? Because I don't think it does. I think it's basically the source of the problem, because you've got regulatory capture when you've got CEOs bouncing back and forth between running a government department and then getting a job at a pharmaceutical company.
I think a regulatory company can be good when it is not working with the industry.
Do you know that? Think of every single commercial you ever hear for a lawyer. If you've had this happen to you, is something that was approved by the FDA.
Yeah.
Like, I have no use for these entities, so I guess that's going to be.
Wait, it was approved. Wait, hang on. The lawyers, they're approved by.
I mean, yeah, when you see a TV commercial and it's lawyers looking for clients for some class action suit,
why
it's always a drug. It's always a drug.
Why is
the drug was approved by the FDA, as we're saying.
Okay.
It's never like a drug that just like somebody just like invented and like put out in this. It's never. No one's suing over
vitamins,
crack cocaine, or something.
Yeah. Yeah. No. I very much agree that I think a lot of these bureaucratic systems, a lot of the problems they have is a lot of times they're full of people who are influenced. I don't want to use any other harsher terms that might be not necessarily correct, but influenced by the industry, because these are big, powerful corporations that spend a lot of money.
They're trained by the industry. The industry owns the whole medical school system, so they don't even have to have any malice or sleazy dealings at all.
Yeah, no. That's why I'm saying it's not just sleazy dealings. In fact, I would argue that like most of the things aren't sleazy dealings. It's literally just somebody who was a part of a big pharma company for their entire life, and then retires and then goes to work at the FDA. They're gonna think like a person at that pharma company, and that's gonna influence some of the things they do.
Right. So we'll land it. I mean,
so
what's the point?
By the way, whenever I say universal healthcare, I'm not talking about like any kind of elective surgeries or things like that. I am talking about like emergency healthcare. I'm talking about life-saving emergency healthcare.
Well, we had
okay, I just want to make sure that was clear. I want to make sure I wasn't saying like if you want to get cosmetics, if you want to get bigger tits or something like that, that's on you. And
I mean, that's the one thing that I could I could say we should pay for. That benefits everybody, right?
but that's I'm just saying that's the one thing that if doctors want to charge, whatever they want to charge for doing that, I have no problem. Like that seems like that can be purely capitalistic. I think when it comes to saving someone's life, though, I don't think there should be like a question of whether or not you can afford it.
I think that's so. The whole point about that was that at the end of the day, the bureaucracy is fucked because of the concentration of power of the pharma companies.
I think that's only part of it, and I think there's so many competing interests, even at the political level, that the political will to actually solve the problem is just not ever going to be there anytime soon.
I agree. Actually, I agree.
With the medical industry, I'm not sure. Do y'all remember 2020? Like, literally, the entire Democratic platform was rotating around whose idea of Medicare for all.
What happened?
In the 2020 election, the entire
It's because the healthcare industry is. It's my theory that the healthcare industry is just the front door of the bioweapons industry. It's all the military-industrial complex.
I don't believe that.
I mean, what do you think chemo? What is chemo? Mustard gas.
Was mustard gas only invented for the war stuff? Or
I think you're seeing connections that are not necessarily.
No, it was derived from that. You got mustard gas. You've got fluoride.
Wait. Okay, hang on. If it was,
it doesn't matter though. It's just a theory. It's just a theory, so I can't really.
Sure.
It's a wrong one.
I understand.
I'm curious though. I want to look at where mustard gas originated from. If it was just for World War One, like when
I think
it
it was
started.
just
I can't
for
remember.
World War One.
Right.
I'm actually going to Google that right now.
It was used there
same.
before it was ever made into chemo. But, fuck, I lost my train of thought. That was
something about it's the front door for the.
They only invented a treatment
Military
for cancer
industrial.
because they held this leftover mustard gas, and they were like, "What are we going to do with this shit?" And they're like, "Oh, I don't know. Let's see if it helps cancer." That's what it makes it sound like.
Damn, I don't.
Yeah, but that's
I
not.
don't
It's not like that's the only avenue for.
I know. I thought it was funny. It just like
Experimental
it was
medicine.
invented. It was invented for one war, and then we had a whole bunch of it sitting around. They were like, "Shit, well, maybe this will do something else," you know?
Well, I mean, we've got it all. We might as well put it to use.
We might as well use it. I mean,
It's
gonna be
harmful,
bad.
toxic gas. Why are we gonna? Why would we throw this away? This is awesome.
That's how we got our fluoridated drinking water.
Actually,
it was made by someone called Fritz Haber, who was nicknamed the father of toxic gas. So yeah, it did start from World War One.
Mustard gases were potentially developed as early as 1822 by César Massuet Desprez, who was around in like the early 1800s. He described the reaction of sulfur dichloride and ethylene, but never made mention of any irritating properties of the reaction product. So basically, he did the experiment.
How can we make this suck?
But then didn't mention that it kills you.
Yeah.
And then in 1854, another French chemist repeated the procedure, also without describing. It's the French. That's what it is.
God, I'm glad we can bring it back to something we can all agree on.
Because then in 1860, it was a British scientist who synthesized and characterized the mustard gas compound and noted its irritating properties, especially in tasting.
Death is irritating.
That is true.
Why is it called mustard gas? Like, what is mustard have some, does it say there? I'm
Put on hot
Because
dog.
Is it from the mustard?
you liar. I think it's because it has the. I might be having this wrong. Don't quote me, but I think it's because it has the same sensation, but like times 100. I think it's meant to be like people quoted the feeling is the same thing as mustard when you have too much of it.
Like wasabi.
It
Oh,
contains
oh,
something
mustard.
called sulfur mustards and nitrogen mustards. So whatever a mustard is.
They have an
fentanyl
odor
of
with mustard
condiments.
plants, garlic, and horseradish, hence the name.
Did you know that broccoli, cauliflower, and about 8 other vegetables are all actually derivatives of the mustard plant?
I did
Fun
not.
fact. Yes.
That explains why I don't.
Probably
like
Brussels sprouts.
Brussels sprouts. Yep. Cabbage, Brussels sprouts, broccoli, and like
Broccoli is man-made.
Is lettuce?
Yeah, it was.
I mean,
like
modern lettuce.
It's genetically altered mustard though. They cultivated this one part of the mustard plant, and eventually it became broccoli. And that's how like there's like 8 different green vegetables we eat that are all derived from mustard. And I learned that a while back, and it blew my mind. I thought that was amazing.
Oh God, FlowState, why is your profile picture a demon?
Oh yeah, that's the
That is the most terrifying. Man, seriously, if they want to sell some Halloween masks, they should just make Halloween masks out of that dude. Like that's like the scariest fucking motherfucker.
Can
I've
you
ever seen in my life.
imagine believing that as a man of God? Like, in what fucking universe would you have to be living in?
Being in a really old white person.
Talcott's universe.
Not even any of the old white people. All the old white people in my family all think he's a demon too. Like, but there's nobody in my family.
To
and
me, they're all
Really?
obvious
Oh my
to me.
God.
Joel Osteen, Robert Tilted, that guy. I don't know who.
Nobody
falls.
has as predatory a gaze though as Copeland.
No. I think
You got to
his-
consider the source of all of his income are people who are older and are less able to differentiate between who's trying to scam them on TV.
You know, and if I were a more proper psychopath, I would definitely be trying to leverage the Christian grift on YouTube.
Oh my God.
Like it would be such a more lucrative channel option than
It's not too late to convert.
Hey,
You
you
can
know what?
say
You know what?
It's not too late to convert.
I This is not a joke. I live 2 minutes, not even 2 minutes drive from the TBN headquarters. Okay, from TBN, and it's actually for sale right now. So if we all pull our, it's where Copeland and all these guys. It was the Trinity Broadcasting Network. It's where.
Well, I don't know. I don't watch that shit.
I know it's like Televangelist Central. It's we're Tammy Faye,
and what's her name? The Jan Kraut, the one that looks like the baby doll.
Yeah.
The only thing I might be getting this wrong, but isn't the Trinity the thing that you were talking about? The only thing I know about that was the thing that happened about how he predicted the end of the world and it was wrong. Is that the same? Did that guy work under that?
That was Harold Camping.
Ah, okay. Was he not under that Trinity thing you were talking about?
I don't think he was. No, he was part of a radio network that he had some sort of Christian radio network that he was a part of that collapsed after his like constant bad predictions in his death. But TBN
got the 3 arrows.
TBN used to be like it was like a UHF broadcasting television network that existed for a long time, and it's where Tammy Faye Baker and whatever Ted Baker whatever.
Yeah, it was like the BET of.
Yeah, it was like it was all preaching all the time. It was 24/7. All they did was have preaching guys on there like preaching out something, and like they have this disgusting ostentatious white. It looks like the White House. Okay, it's a replica of the White House, and it's right up from the street from me, and it's for sale right now. And I guess they shut it down. I don't know if the TV. I don't know if it's even because I don't have cable or anything. I have no idea if it even still exists. But like I'm just saying, if we all pull our money together, maybe we can buy the TBN station.
It would be so existential if I came back in like a month and you guys owned that house and started doing broadcasting networks. That would be the weirdest shit.
It's actually really funny. I've talked with one of the guy in my polycule, and we were joking because like it would be so fucking easy to make a YouTube channel of like being like either one of those like hyper Christian or honestly even one of those like rightoid like react channels.
Yeah, the extremist Christian channels and stuff like that. Yeah.
Oh my god, it would be so easy.
Where the real news gets shared.
It's just so immoral.
to do or maybe do a Colbert Report type satire on it, kind of like on YouTube, because no one's doing it anymore. You know, it might not be a bad thing to try.
I like how you said Colbert instead of It's when he used to be funny, he was called Colbert.
When it's the Colbert Report, yeah. Back in the old day, like the old days. Back whenever Colbert's thing was like, he was like, well, I think he started as a parody of who was that guy's name? Bill O'Reilly. That was
Bill O'Reilly. Yeah,
it was mostly a parody of Bill O'Reilly at first, and then it kind of morphed into another thing. But wouldn't it be hilarious to have like this giant, like we could open like this giant streaming studio thing, Jeff, where we out of the TBN headquarters we have this big White House thing, you know? We have
that would be funny. Oh my god!
We could get a Jack Talcott fireplace for the background.
Yeah. every streamer we know could have their own little like lights on it. Their own little corner, and like we could go through, and it'd be like it'd be like the MTV house, but much classier. You know?
We should all fucking screenshot as Jack's fireplace sometime when he gets up. And then just green screen it for all of our backgrounds.
Oh my god!
We should.
That's actually a really good idea.
If anyone does it, send it to me. I'll do it.
Me too.
I'll put it as a background.
I'll keep an eye out.
I mean, I'll just look through his old videos. I'm sure we can find a.
I get the feeling you guys aren't a fan of Jack Talcott.
No, I like Jack. I like Jack.
We like Jack. We just
haven't really watched him before.
I honestly don't see why other people have the hostility toward him.
I've like such a.
I don't either. It's a weird.
It's a friendly rivalry.
Yeah,
it's friendly rivalry. You know, that's all it is.
Okay, no, actually, I do understand the hostility because even though he as a person is very, very chill, and I think like his positions are chill. I think sometimes in conversation he can get a little aggressive.
Yeah, that's the weird.
I mean, if he ever got in power for real, like we'd all be
I would say, I've noticed in recent, when watching back some of his stuff, I've noticed that sometimes he did similar things to what the Nemesis guy did, where like someone would give a retort to like a question or a statement, and he'd be like, oh, okay, yeah, but listen, but here's the thing, and like just kind of ignore it. I know like it's a slight bit of condescendingness when you don't need it, like where the conversation can just be had back and forth, but the person, instead of interacting with what you've just said, feels the need to like reiterate what they've said instead. That's I don't think that's constructive. I think that can sometimes come across as like talking down to people.
Yeah.
But
really
Jack,
mean to
at the same time, Jack acknowledges that, and sometimes he does catch himself out on it.
Yeah.
I think Jack's just flawed. I think he knows when he's doing wrong, though.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah, Jeff. If you were talking, man, we definitely were not hearing you. So if you do click your headset, man, please do. No, Jeff and his dog.
Oh, the other Jeff.
Yeah. I didn't think it was my microphone. I'm just letting you know. Yeah, we were not hearing him speak. So,
We wish it was you. We couldn't hear.
I think sometimes. I think for some reason I've noticed it does sometimes cut him out when other people are talking. I don't know if that's on purpose or not.
No, I don't know how that would be. Like
like his volume or his microphone goes down in volume when other people talk. I don't know if that's.
It could be one of his StreamYard sayings.
Oh, he said he's using his
possibly.
phone.
You're talking about me?
Okay.
So that's
it could have been a StreamYard thing or something, like where StreamYard was automatically turning his voice down or something like that. Like it used to do that to me all the time.
Yeah, who knows what settings people have when they come on?
Yeah.
Who's
Hey, Flo, how did the night go with that guy that was living in that truck?
God.
Oh, I guess he gone.
No, I'm here.
You just made him go on like an emotional roller coaster in
It was
like 5
fine.
seconds.
Well, I mean, towards the end of the night, I was, you wear down, you get a little tired, you get a little short. He was
just getting started.
Hank starts getting squirrely around 3:34 in the morning too, and
I've
really?
I've seen that happen.
I kind of snapped on Hank a little bit at one point, and then shortly after I kicked everybody off except for Sterling, and I just talked to Sterling for a little bit because he kept getting talked over all night. But
Hank's the black dude that shows up on Jack's streams, right?
yeah,
Hank, he's on here all.
Hank is a button pusher. He does that with me too. And I don't even know how much is intentional.
There comes a point about 3:34 in the morning, my time, when like every conversation, he answers every question, every side of the question. Like he'll give us his thoughts on all sides of every conversation in opposition to whoever spoke before him, which is normally me. Like when it's on my panel, it's normal. So
that's not bad, but it's bad. It gets bad when people ramble a lot, when they like have so many things. Because I catch myself doing it sometimes when like you remember or acknowledge like 5 different points in like a short statement, and made and ramble for like the next
I know
5
what
minutes.
you're talking about.
And I'm a contrarian too, so like I recognize that I do that shit sometimes too. But self-awareness. Fuck, Chuck's here.
But it's your show, so you can do that.
Yeah. So anyway, it wasn't a big deal. He didn't seem to really even give a fuck. I just told him to shut the fuck up one time because I was going to play a video.
I got a question.
Hey, what's up, Chuck?
We'll make up an answer.
Okay, a fella gets sent to the psych doctor from work, and they say he's too dangerous to work. So the gentleman goes out and hires his own doctor to run another series of tests, and that doctor comes up with the same conclusion. But yet they're both wrong, the individual things. What's your thought on that?
Did this really happen?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, my first thought when you say they sent him to the psych doctor from work, was that through what's it called, LNI? Like an LNI claim, workplace claim, because that's usually when a work is sending you to see a doctor.
Nigga, we don't know that shit.
Like LNI. This is important.
It was through the post office.
So they have their own doctor.
Are we talking about Talcott again?
Yeah, we must be. And
Well,
then Talcott
we were
hired
talking
his
about
own
some
doctor as
hypothetical
well.
person until Chris decided to pipe up.
I mean, you can always get second and third opinions, but the more opinions you get, the more they agree, the less likely it is that you're gonna make your case.
Yeah, I think it's stubbornness. He went in, he didn't even try to play. I don't remember the specifics, but I remember hearing his story and going, "Oh my fucking god, you said that to the second doctor?"
What was the diagnosis?
I don't know the specifics of any of it really.
Yeah, there's certain things that you just don't say to psychiatrists and doctors.
Yeah,
I've had friends you put hospitals before.
The outcome was he
saying
was
the wrong
too dangerous to himself and the people around,
So that's either suicidal or homicidal ideation.
I think they're asking like what was he diagnosed with, not like what was the outcome.
What does the post office do to people? That's the real question. How the fuck do they have all this stuff going on?
What do you mean? I mean, they probably just there
Going
was probably
postal?
an incident at work.
Going postal. There's no other industry that has a phrase.
Because the mail never stops.
I think
And
that's
it's like a government bureaucracy. It's not a like ordinary workplace.
I think
So the moral is government sucks.
It depends on like when it comes to diagnosing mental health and psychoanalysis. I know that doctors do sometimes get it wrong because it's not something that you can physically diagnose. They essentially have to. So when you were saying earlier, there are certain things you wouldn't tell a psychiatrist. That's the opposite of what they want. They want you to tell them everything. They want you to be fully honest because that's the only way they get their information to diagnose you. So if you're restricting information or depending on what it is, it can be a spectrum of things that they have to guess from sometimes.
Yeah, they're going by a combination of self-disclosure, and that's something that you can manipulate, and observation, and which they can get wrong because they're only seeing you for the first time for like that one half an hour or hour that they're looking at you.
Yeah.
So they're making very snap judgments.
I don't think it's necessarily snap. It depends on the situation and it depends on the context that they're doing the person and what the setting is. But they essentially, because they're medical professionals, they'll have like a list or a reference of like all the different things, and they'll have studied all the different things that they're meant to look for.
Yeah, all they're doing
and
is
in that situation, they're meant to try and essentially guess from an analysis of you for what you're meant to be.
Yeah, it is
diagnosed
guessing.
as. But it is a lot of like essentially theory because they're trying to get as much information about your mental state as possible and then make an analysis on that and make a conclusion. It's difficult. They can get it wrong. It's something that's still being studied to this day.
I don't think the categories are very well defined anyway. I think they're very fuzzy categories, and the DSM is constantly changing and updating. So all they're doing is referencing observable symptoms against whatever the current DSM categories are.
It's all made up.
It's all.
I mean, it's not made up. Phenomenology.
Mental illness is a mindset.
Everything's made up. But.
You know, I went back. I tried to find a video that Jack had made years ago, but he has taken it down since. But his hair was extremely long. His beard was just outgrown. And he was wearing it looked like a brown robe type thing. And
like lesbian nuns.
Yeah, and on that video, he was kind of roundabout claiming that he was the second coming.
Oh my God! Really, he's been there. He's been at that point before. Okay,
I don't know what he said to the psychiatrist.
I always come first. Well, he said the one.
If he has a messiah complex.
He said the one he paid told him that on every question or conversation that he was just completely combative, argumentative.
Yeah, but that's not necessarily mental health. That could be personality.
Yeah.
I think it can be both.
I was gonna say it could be the mental health exacerbating a personality quirk.
Mental health can leak into personality.
And it also, if he was quitting drinking or trying to quit dipping or something, like, I know that if I don't have my cigarettes, I get super fucking short with people. Everything's annoying. Everybody's annoying.
Well, he quit AA because he felt he was better than they were.
I think I am too.
If I remember right.
That's why I quit.
Well, that's why you're still messed up in the head.
Well, so are they. You never met a not messed up person at a group.
No, they're worse.
I once went to an NA meeting with a friend for support. Right, I wasn't.
You went to pick up pussy. Don't lie. That 13th step is a doozy.
Oh, that one
I
gets you every time.
I had a friend who was having issues with heroin, and she was trying to get off it, and she went to an NA meeting, and I went to this meeting with her, and I was just there as support. I wasn't doing anything.
It was a chick. I told you, man. I called it.
Yeah, no, it was a chick. It was a friend of mine and Lindsay's. Lindsay didn't want to. She first asked.
So what happened at the meeting? What was your impression?
he got a hand job.
That it was the biggest fucking load of bullshit I'd ever seen in my life. Like if I had been a drug addict at the time, I would have left that meeting. I left there wanting to go do drugs.
It helps the people that it helps. It's not for everybody, but I've seen it help.
I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying it's bad for everyone. I'm saying that like I know like for certain people, those kind of groups just do not help. Like,
it
would not help me.
I went to an organization that deals with men's mental health, and I went there for, I think, a month. And the problem that I started to see over time is that it was good if you wanted to talk about your stuff, but it wasn't good if you wanted to discuss it and try and solve it. A lot of it was like, we sit in a circle and talk to each other about what's wrong with ourselves, and like we never address anything. It's just to get it.
So that's weird for
me. I felt like that wasn't productive. So I felt like it was like, when I clocked onto that, I was like, okay, I need to take responsibility for this, and I need to do something myself, because just going to these meetings all the time isn't going to help. It might put me into a better mental state, because it might make me feel more comfortable with it, being able to talk about it and discuss it. But again, like, it's comfortable about talking about it, but not actually having a back and forth about it. So I realized at that point I had to have direct control over it and do something outside of the group. So it didn't really serve the purpose after the month that was going.
Chris.
Well,
if we had a lot of people, the group I belonged to, which was AA, we had a good group, but we found we were getting a lot of NA people coming to our meetings because
that's us.
The problem you described at the NA meeting, they weren't getting anything they needed. All they was getting was more thirst to use again, as opposed to a way out.
You think they were trying to like normalize it, yeah?
Yeah, it was
the friends I know that went to NA, they went to get drugged. Like that's where a lot of the drug deals. They
they'd meet up.
Imagine
it makes sense if you're trying to find contacts. Then yeah, it's not great for them.
Son, if you want to talk about your shit here, we'll help you solve it too. Like we do that here.
Yeah, I'll be your sponsor.
Sex addict meeting or something like that. Like it's the best place.
Flo might tell you it's a state of getting laid, but yeah, we'll try and help.
I graduated one of the 2 rehabs I went to, so I can be your sponsor.
I graduated rehab.
I had to retake the class, but the second time I graduated. So.
I quit halfway through because I told them to fuck off. But
are you free? Are you like drug free or sobriety?
Yeah. But I would say that either way, wouldn't I?
Right.
I mean, it's sort of one of those questions. Why do you bother asking?
Because I assume you're going to tell the truth.
Yeah, but I actually got kicked out of the first one. They said I was using, even though I wasn't, and I passed all the drug test breathalyzers. They searched my room. They searched the car. They just didn't appreciate my attitude.
Sometimes they do that. They do try to find excuses depending on whether the
people think I'm on
in
drugs
the groups are problematic.
Well, I didn't know what you were supposed to do at rehab. I didn't realize you were supposed to go to like group shit and stuff. And so every morning they'd come in my room and be like, "Do you want to go do this?" I'd be like, "No, why the fuck do I want to do that?"
It's rehabilitation. Did you think you were going to go and sit in a room and then be like,
"Yeah, I did. I thought it was just like a detox or something."
That you were going to meditate and somehow like be like, "You know what? Drugs are pretty bad."
And then when I started going to the groups, then I was bitching because I said I don't have a drug problem, I have a cop problem, and eventually they're sick of me.
My problem isn't the drugs. My problem is the cops taking them away.
Because that's locus of control. You're
I used to know
locating the source of your problems outside of yourself.
I used to know so many drug addicts that made the same joke constantly. I do have a drug problem. My problem is I can't get enough drugs. I got so tired of hearing that.
Well, that wasn't my joke, but.
No, I know it wasn't your joke. No, I was just saying.
I could have always gotten enough drugs.
I used to know a lot of drug addicts. I guess that was the only point of
that. They serve as decent guidance for a lot of people universally, but I think a lot of people don't realize that when they go to those meetings or when they go to like rehab, they need to sort of like they need to take initiative and take responsibility for their health. It's not just they're not going to hold your hand. They need to like they give you guidance. Then it's like, okay, well, it's up to you to make the decision.
Yeah.
To take steps to get better.
People have to want to quit before going to rehab. Unless
intrinsic motivation.
No, they don't have to. I don't think they have to. Sometimes people go to rehab thinking that it's like just something to try, but they don't think it'll work. But they might learn there. It's both. Sometimes people go and then realize how serious it is and how seriously they need to take it. And some people go with the mindset to get better. The problem comes when people go and think it won't matter and that they don't need to do anything. That's when it's a problem.
I think that returning to, because everybody's good at being sober at rehab. Actually, both times, very few people got fucked up at rehab. It's when you leave there. Do you go back to your same environment? And I didn't. I moved across the state. So I really think that that's kind of the key.
If it takes you away from your suppliers and people who enable that behavior and people who engage in the same stuff, then yeah, I can see why that would help. I think it's drastic, but I think it can help.
Well, yeah, and I didn't move to get away from the drugs necessarily. But yeah, it is drastic, but still, I mean, you know, if you've ever been addicted, you know what a trigger is, right? You drive by the wrong gas station. Or
you know what's there. Yeah.
It's just you just remove yourself from your triggers and from all the random like door knocks, like, "Hey, what's up? So what are you doing?" And like, you know.
I know what you mean. Sometimes it's kind of like a step down from cold turkey where you take away any ability to be able to do it or any sort of like temptation. That does help because it takes your mind away from it. And when you recover over time, if you back in that environment, you have better self-control over yourself. That's the idea, is that like when people go cold turkey or when they like move those sources or suppliers away from themselves, that ability to get that stuff, it allows them time to recover and gain that mental state again where they don't rely on it.
I think.
Yeah,
right.
So those new routines help them avoid the stuff when they go back into that environment because they know, because with those new routines and that new mindset, they go, nah, I just don't, I'm not dependent on that anymore.
Yeah, but a 30-day vacation to rehab isn't going to change anyone's routines once they're back in their environment. So.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, I mean, I know I've seen like, although I mean like there's some people though, like I mean it doesn't even matter. Like the girl that we tried to help, that was a friend of ours from back in Vegas that, you know, she was in jail and like we were helping her getting out of jail and everything. And so she was in jail for like 6 months, so she was totally sober coming out of it. And we did everything we could to keep her away from any kind of, we don't know any drug dealers around here, so we didn't have any connections that she could get to, but she still somehow she went out there and found them. Like if I really wanted drugs, I wouldn't even know the first place to start. Like I wouldn't even know if I didn't happen to
what was her drug?
She was in a mess.
So. Okay, yeah, so that's easy to find because you can tell people who are geeked out,
right?
And they're always up and moving around, right? So if you've been on it, you can spot them. Casinos are a great place to find them too, because they're open all the time.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, and she lived in Vegas originally, but she came in here to Texas, it was a disaster. That's all there was to it.
Good times and great oldies.
Well, that is a hot spot for a lot of that sort of stuff, isn't it? Unfortunately.
Where?
So was the sex good though?
Vegas? Was it Vegas that you mentioned?
Yeah, Vegas. Yeah, Vegas.
Yeah.
Was it sex? I'd never had sex with her. No, I don't know anything about that.
Oh, you should have.
You projected a little bit, man. There's a very deep desire here to get laid in all this.
Every time I hear a story from Chris, it's always like, oh yeah, and then like there was this opportunity to get laid. No, just didn't.
There probably were opportunities to get laid, but I am so inept when it comes to picking up signals like that I don't notice them. I don't know that opportunity happened until it's been like months later, and somebody's like, "Oh yeah, that chick was totally trying to fuck you, dude." Yeah. And I was like, really? I had no. I don't know. I don't think of myself like that. So that's what it's like a self-confidence type thing, I guess.
Next time you're around,
I do not think of myself.
That's your signal.
I mean, no, don't.
I said, if the girl is borderline unconscious and suffering from drug withdrawal, go in for it, bro.
Okay, yeah. Okay, I got you. Yeah, good advice, guys.
No, not withdrawal. You gotta be properly.
I don't feel good about this.
You know what? I'm starting to feel immoral, or like I sound immoral.
Only now?
Took you that long?
Jeff is a Satanist. Did you guys know Jeff is a Satanist?
Yeah,
crazy.
I did actually know because he's mentioned it on a previous.
I'm the only one that's open about it.
Well, who else do you think is
I see a lot of satanic people on these panels. You being one of them.
You think there's secret Satanists amongst you, Jeff?
Crypto Satanists.
Am I satanic, Jeff?
Who, Lib?
Yeah.
No.
I'm not.
No. You're too good. You're too good for this world.
Do you think your Satan radar's good?
Well, who on the panel is crypto?
Yeah, I do think it's good.
Okay.
Who on the panel?
It's not dog whistle, by the way. I'm just asking.
What was Flo's question?
Who on the panel is a crypto Satanist?
You.
Yeah.
On this panel.
Yeah, you.
Just me? Well,
So far, yeah.
okay.
I don't think the rest of them have the. I don't know Sun that well, so I can't say about.
I've
him.
only just got here. Yeah, chill out. Okay.
Yeah, but I don't think Chris and Liv have the fire to be a.
We don't have the fire to be a Satanist. Wow, that's
Yeah, you need that like
Ooh,
that's
challenge
dark
accepted,
satanic
bro.
fire in you.
that's
I
hurtful.
can accept.
Yeah, I
that.
know. I
This
could be
is good.
evil. Give me a chance, bro.
It's not about being evil. It's really more about being independent and anti-authoritarian.
No, I know a lot of the
It's
theory
like,
behind it.
I'm almost as independent and anti-authoritarian as you are. I talk about. I told you all the time. Like
Well, if
my
you want to be a Satan, be one. I'm not telling you.
I
Yeah,
know,
you little
I-
whiny
I-
ass
I-
crybaby.
I personally think they're
Jesus.
born, not made.
Look, we can't let such crybaby little whiny bitches into the Satanist or crypto Satanist group.
No, I figured out. I figured out what Sundude is. He has the accent and vernacular to be a edgy atheist. That's what he is.
You're totally right.
Is that hard on people with an English accent, Lib?
Yes, that is. That
Awesome.
absolutely is.
No, I'm not atheist. I'm not atheist. I'm spiritual. I'm not atheist, though.
Hey,
I'm spiritual, but I'm not Christian or satanic.
Yeah.
I don't
who
believe
else
in
that
like
we
conventional
know
religion.
Off the panel is a crypto. Who else is in the crypto club with me?
Let me think.
Well, Jack, obviously.
I hate to say it, but maybe Tommy a little bit. No, not Jack. Although he does, when you see that other side of him come out, there is something. There is a demon in there trying to come out. I think that's what all the spirituality is for. That's his way of managing his demon, which is good. Like that's what spiritual paths are useful for. So I'm not going to discourage him from it because I've seen the little glimpse of what's in there. Machine a little bit has a
Machine lies, really.
Yeah, he has a little rebellious streak. He kicks up now and then.
He does. He hides it.
Nero Jack lately, if you're out there, Nero. Especially like for Christians, a lot of times the satanic component of them is the shadow side of their Christianity.
You think Neurojack has a darker side than I do? That's interesting.
Not necessarily dark. I think you're confusing Satanism with dark and evil.
Chris is getting
I'm joking, dude. I'm joking.
Chris, do you want to become this part a Satanist with him?
Can I please? No,
I don't think Chris would like real Satan. I don't think Chris would be able to hang for long with real Satanists.
Do you drink blood,
like
Chris?
real Satanists like you?
Yeah, yeah, like a group of us.
Like the person I hang out with you more than I hang out with anybody else out here. Like,
I'm not gonna lie,
but part of it is me doing work on my end too.
Sounds fairly cringy.
I'm a bit rough around the edges of Satanism. I get
you're
the
too.
theory
First of all, you're
behind
too British. You're way too polite.
No. Okay, don't put me in a box. Don't put me in a box. That's your
You need to be
satanic
able to keep
mindset
rock and roll
speaking,
around the
bro.
mud,
I can be
too.
whatever I want to be. No, but like, how do you practice Satanism?
You're in your own box. You're on an island. You
Well,
put
first of
yourself
all,
in
you
your
gotta
own.
Yeah, we didn't make the fucking island. I was just born here.
Islands are way too.
I can move if I want.
Sorry, I'm giving you more shit than you should.
Yeah, I know. Jesus.
That's because you're British. There's two groups of people that I think you're allowed to be racist to, and it's British people. And
Okay.
French people.
And what's the other one? French people?
French people, yeah.
Yeah, I get that a lot. And the
I
British
get that a
and
lot as
French
well. As someone who's
support each
British,
other.
I hear a lot about the
What
French.
about
yes.
Canadians? Come on now,
Yes.
Canadians are bullshit.
Yes.
Well, no.
100% affirmative.
French Canadians, yes.
I'm French Canadian. Well, actually, I'm Canada wasn't created at the time.
Yeah,
I was French before Canada.
Yeah.
You're Cajun. Don't denigrate yourself by calling yourself a French.
No. I mean, for what it's worth, Cajun does have a lot of connections.
We do have like the Acadians that stayed up there. We do have like this cultural exchange.
You're not Canadian,
They're
are you?
considered French Canadians. So, but that was a later development. It had nothing to do with our culture.
Yeah, no. There's a really strong through line between French Canadians and Cajuns, like in Louisiana. It's actually a pretty big because they were all a part of France.
Right, we were all Acadians, but we're technically like we were exiled before Canada was even anything. It wasn't even an idea.
Well, yeah, but that's because of that was part of the Creole groups that
So it
that lived
became
around.
French Canadian years later after we left. But our Acadian cousins that are up there are now considered French Canadian, and we have a connection with them.
Yeah.
So it's an artifact of like modern modern categories are.
French Canadians are satanic. Got it.
True though.
I was just gonna ask. I don't know if it was answered or not earlier. Like, how do you? The only thing that I vaguely remember about Satanism is that they practice being more comfortable with nudity. Is that something that's true in Satanism?
It's not something I I personally do.
Giving us tease.
and he got the idea from me. So who's to say?
Yeah.
No,
but I know that that's like something that they talk about how you're meant to like feel free in like your own body and flesh. So you're meant to like.
It really depends. I'm an outsider Satanist. I don't have an official satanic community I'm a part of. It really depends on the Satanist you talk to. I personally don't practice nudity.
Okay.
I have no reason to. It's just
what was your
me hanging out
how
in
do
my
you practice it then? What was because I remember you mentioned it on another panel. I just can't remember what it was. What is it you do that practices it again?
Well, I don't currently. Like, I don't do rituals or anything. But a lot of my the pillars of it is rock music. I read a lot, like romantic literature and stuff like that. So reading.
That's
BDSM. Like if I had any kind of ritualistic practices at all, and I haven't had a partner in a while, it would be BDSM practices, like erotic Satanism.
Right. Okay. I mean, to be fair, that's stuff that's. I don't know if that necessarily makes you. If you do it because of Satanism, that's different. But I think that's all stuff that you can do without the need for Satanism.
Yes, you absolutely can do it without. But the satanic aesthetic and ethos ties it all together. So it makes each individual component kind of into something large, some larger unit.
Okay.
I mean, I've always taken you as more of being a philosophical Satanist more than like.
Or literary Satanism. It's sometimes called.
Yeah.
Descended from the Romantic tradition.
Would you say that a lot of your ideologies revolving around Satanism is to essentially rebel against a lot of the conventions of like Christianity and like spirituality?
I thought at first, but not Christianity. Satanism is actually a denomination of. It's part of the Christian mythos. My rebellion is actually against the authoritarianism of the left, I discovered, and things like wokeness. That's the church that I'm.
Well, isn't the left like a product? Isn't like a majority of the left a product of like being against like republics and stuff like that? The republicanism, so like against Christianity. Well, not against Christianity, but against the idea of following the conventional.
It's the new Puritanism and a lot of wokeness. They're definitely Puritans, and a lot of wokeness rose out of the Unitarian Universalist Church. In fact, their publishing company published a lot of they published Robert DiAngelo's book and things like that. So there's a connection between Unitarian Universalism and kind of that Puritan, waspy New England and now West Coast culture and wokeness. And that's if you see that as a religion, that's the religion that my Satanism is directed against. Hey, look who's here.
Right.
Jack, come on.
Hi, Jack.
We were talking about you.
And a new name, Christ Brings a Sword. I haven't.
Oh God, is this one of the? Is this?
Oh no, I know Christ. That was the one that was on Rowan's panel. That was. He's gonna have a satellite after he dies, and he's gonna give us a tour of his. He's getting his own planet or galaxy or something as a reward for.
Is he a Mormon?
No, he's
Mormons believe they get their own planet when they die. So
that is true.
Similar to that, he has a very unique take on Christianity.
Interesting.
I mean, in a lot of ways, I mean, like in the same way that Jeff, that you were saying that you consider that you're you consider Satanism a denomination of Christianity. I mean, there's a lot of people in the Christian church that would consider me more satanic because I call myself a Gnostic Christian. So, which I think is kind of funny.
But I don't let other people define my Satanism. I define it myself. So I don't care.
No, I agree. I don't let other people define.
Like there are Satanists that don't think I'm even a real Satanist because I'm not Church of Satan or Satanic Temple.
Well, I think that comes into the similar complications of like Christianity, where it's like there's a lot of subsections and it's really difficult to delineate
they all
between
kind
like
of
a specific. There's no specific way to do it, so naturally a bunch of humans come together and then say that their way is the best way to do it. Yeah.
But
Okay.
we
Welcome,
one
Mr.
of our main
Jack.
things that we all respect everybody's individual beliefs and everyone's individual thing, and like it's fine no matter what you believe in. I'm not going to try to convince you that my way is the right way, and I'm not going to as long as you can try to convince me that your way is the right way, and I'll listen to you. But it doesn't mean I'm going to.
We are for monkeys,
conform.
raccoon, so, and I don't have anything to worry about. So you're
Well,
right.
technically, we actually are apes, not monkeys.
I
Monkeys
thought
are
it
actually
was
primates.
chimpanzees.
Same thing.
I thought it was chimpanzees.
Chimpanzees more specifically. Chimpanzees are a kind of ape.
If you wanted to get extra existential,
But
which
we
from, like, the
have
very
a
first
revered
instance of cell
guest
life called
right now,
Luca.
so let us all welcome Mr. Jack
Hey, Jack.
Worcott.
How's it going, mate?
Respect. I don't mean to interrupt.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
not interrupting.
No, you're
No,
not.
not at all.
You were the topic. You were the hot topic for a while.
Well,
You
took
were.
me a
Yeah.
while. Took me a while to finally make my way over here. I'm glad to see you guys.
Well, I'm honored.
Yeah, nice to meet you too. I will unfortunately have to dip in a minute because it is nearly 11 o'clock at night and I have to get up at 3:30 tomorrow. But it was cool to talk to you guys.
Yeah,
I didn't realize that we'd been on that long because like when we first asked you where the time was, it was like 9:30 and like.
Yeah, it was. Time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah, I didn't realize. You believe we all come from apes? It makes you feel better. Okay, well that's cool, dude.
Well, you do too. So I hope that makes you feel better.
Yeah. I really don't. I really don't think we. I really don't. I don't necessarily think evolution is wrong, but I don't necessarily think that we came from apes per se. I think there's some gaps in that I find suspicious. But I think that I don't think evolution is an entirely incorrect concept. But I just don't think that specific belief it doesn't convince me because there's so many gaps in the record that just like I for one thing, generally when things evolve, they don't still seem to exist in their former form as much. So I don't understand like why, you know.
Well, yeah,
that's the point of evolution.
Yeah, the ape that we evolved from no longer exists.
Hey, a machine.
That's the point of evolution, that we'd like refine our genetic code and do away with a bunch of older
Yeah, there were like
stuff
groups
that doesn't work for us. I think the most interesting thing I learned recently was the hypothesis of like the first cell that we come from. I think it's what is it? I think it's called Luca, but it's an abbreviation for I think it's the last universal common ancestor. I think.
Yeah,
that was a really
right.
cool idea.
That was right.
That is really cool. Yeah.
There is what's the one of the big like there's that big gap in the evolutionary or the archaeological record though that like where like things just like stop.
That's the aliens. That was before the aliens came and accelerated evolution.
Well, I'm glad you explained. Like it's confused me for a long time.
So maybe we are all one if there's
I'm glad
a
Jeff
Luca.
straightened me out on aliens. So.
But we're differentiated enough to experience separation as well.
I feel like an alien at times.
Oh, me too. Not even at times.
Make up our
Hey,
minds.
machine, what's up?
What? Hey, what's going on, man?
Jack, are you I see that you're streaming today.
Yeah, I'm supposed to start in just a few minutes, but I didn't. I did want to say hi, and I didn't want to say hi and be rude.
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah.
No, you were one of the, I think, the least rude people that I've met on these panels. Your parents raised you very well.
Thank you.
I'm new to all this.
What is your topic today?
The concept of living through mind or heart.
What does that mean?
That's a real topic for real. Yeah.
That was.
We could always go drift.
That's
on over
enticing. Yeah, I might have to jump in. I might have to jump.
Yeah, fuck this panel. I'm going over there.
You got me. You're a good salesman.
This is like the Jack. We're the opening act.
Yeah.
Jack's the headline.
With the lead up.
This is
the lead up act.
I was inspired by someone else earlier today talking about that. Some concepts of moving out of the mind and into the heart.
Oh my God!
Finding more peace.
I was talking about that in my men's group the other day. That's something that I'm trying to learn how to do because there's. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna go today then and try to get some of your wisdom.
I appreciate that. Actually, though, as I'm saying this, I'm reminded that I meant to bring up some of that other video so I'd have some references to share. I should do a little bit of prep. I'm gonna bounce out.
Okay. Well,
we might go take the party over there.
Respect.
I won't be on for much.
I may not be. I have to go and find clothes to send out to people for Poshmark. So I may not. I may not be. I may not get back before your stream's over. But if I do, I'll pop in too. So.
Yeah, I'll be there. This is a topic of particular interest to me. So
it sounds very interesting.
That. And Chris, maybe I'm sure you're not alone, but there's some people where I've been short with in the past, and I kind of noticed it. I did that with you.
It's okay, man.
Do that. Good.
It's all right. I appreciate it. I appreciate the acknowledgement. I appreciate it. I might have come across rude at sometimes too. I get a little snarky sometimes, so like it's all right. It's all good.
Everyone's flawed when it comes.
Way too nice. We've
all gotten there on these panels like where we end up saying some things like they were just like most of the time I'm trying to joke, but my sense of humor is really dry, and so sometimes my jokes sound like I'm being an asshole, and maybe I am being an asshole. I don't know, but I mean it's just, I don't even know at the time what it is, but like I mean, yeah, at the time I was in that particular conversation on Machine Stream. I was genuinely trying to ask questions. I wasn't trying to troll you, but yeah, but it's okay though. You know, it's all right.
Flawed in very similar ways. Being able to acknowledge it is what makes us better.
I believe in the power and the value of conflict. I believe that there is a very much a very there is without conflict there is no refinement.
There's hope. There's hope for you as a Satanist after all.
Yes. I want to just talk at the brother Jack Talcott for a second if I can.
Sure.
Yeah, if I could, do you have maybe 20 and you might not today or maybe a different day. Do you have maybe 20 to 15 minutes to spare after your show today to have a little conversation with? Okay. Well, I will be there 15 to 20 minutes, to show you a video that I forgot to show you from a philosopher that I was interested in, that I think you'll have great interest in, So yeah, so I think
I appreciate that.
Yeah,
all right.
15 minutes after. Yeah, thank you. Have a blessed one.
I'm going to put the link to Jack's episode coming up. If anybody
I was just going to say as well, I like the idea of being able to sleep before I go to work tomorrow, so that's the only reason why I'm not on. Oh, he's dead. Fair enough. I was just going to say I'm the only reason I'm not on going to Jack's panel after this is because I need to sleep before I go to work tomorrow. If I ever get the chance, I would be on Jack's panel.
Sundude, thank you so much for coming on. It's been a pleasure, man. I hope you
come back. It's good to meet you all.
I hope you come back tomorrow.
Yeah, you too. Welcome anytime. We're here every day.
Might not be on the panel all the time, but I'll float around. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I mean, but you're welcome. You're welcome. Like anyone's welcome to come on the panel and just hang out. We're not as long as the only things we don't tolerate people that just like scream at everybody. So if you're not doing that, then you're good. You're good. You can sit there and not even say much of anything. You don't have to go. It's about building. It's about building community. So having people on the panel is kind of.
Someone mentioned that earlier about how just coming on the panel and chilling is fine. So I like that.
Yeah, this is a chill space.
Cool.
For now.
Right, we'll take care, guys.
People like us, yes, for now.
and live
until the chaos ensues.
And don't forget this little fine print.
Chastised are required. That's true. I mean, you gotta. Machine is once again. As I said before, he's exempt because I can't.
Grandfathered it.
Because his
hair,
well,
my beard is too long for it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
he's probably chesty right now. We wouldn't be able to tell.
Yeah.
I would give a chesty, but I don't think I have much going on my chest. So, if that's what I'm gathering from this, I'll work on that. I'll try and grow some hair.
All right. It's not about the
chest.
hair, man.
They come it all.
It's about the man boob. It's all about the man boob.
All about the boob.
We'll grow the chesties.
It's man cleavage. It's like we're just like.
Yeah.
It's for all the ladies out there, as you.
I mean, the genes I was given wasn't great for facial and body hair, but I'll work on it. I'll try and materialize it.
All right, man. All right. And Christ brings a sword. I don't know exactly what you're talking about with get up on the cross for us. But you're welcome here anytime, man.
No, well, he's welcome in the comments. I don't know if he's. Go back and watch Rowan's stream and make a judgment.
Okay.
I think he told me to get on the cross.
Yeah, he did. He told all of us.
Or is that directed at me?
It might have been to Jack, or it might have been to me. I don't know who it was directed at, but
somebody said something about love, and he said words are cheap. Prove your love and get on the cross. Whoa.
He's a unique guy. I'll say that.
Yeah, that's hardcore. That's heavy metal. Some of these people might know what you mean.
He and MC Nemesis would.
Yeah.
Well,
I've got some free time this weekend. I can maybe build across, but the nails are going to be a bit tricky.
Yeah.
I think MC Nemesis he only stopped by to tell us to fuck you, so I guess he must be mad at us. So I don't think we're gonna see him.
I would assume so. Yeah.
He's welcome to come on and rap anytime.
Yeah,
come on.
He still needs to. I saw that. He never freestyled.
He popped in the comments and just said "fuck you."
Also,
and he left, so.
look. If you're angry, oh wait, no, y'all don't have super chats. Damn.
Not yet, but if we get 1,000 viewers,
yeah,
tell your friends.
Subscribers.
Yeah,
yeah,
1,000 subscribers.
All right, cool. I'm gonna dip, guys. I'll take. You guys take care.
Okay,
yeah,
you too. Good.
Have a blessed one, brother.
Well.
Yep.
You too. Bye bye.
Blessed and cursed. Well, you want to mosey on over to Talcott's?
Yeah, you guys go and do that. I got to go find these clothes and mail them out and stuff. But I might see you guys. Hopefully they'll go fast and I'll be able to come back. But good first episode of our reboot, Outliers and Exile, and we have now 138 subscribers. So I mean, it's
thank you.
Yeah, I took I played that conversation we had the other day on my show last night. So
okay.
Almost in its entirety. So
wow.
So yeah, it got some pretty big views last night. So that is deceptively low views, because people also watched it on my channel, hundreds of people, so
wow.
apparently hundreds, they obviously clicked in and out, but it's still.
Did you get a good comment? Did you get any good comments through it? Was it good? The conversation were they responding well to it?
Yeah, the one comment I got on the video is about that portion of the show. So, that was the only comment. Somebody said, and I could read it for you guys if you guys want.
Yeah,
this guy, he's called Heretical Mystic. He said, which is right up you guys'.
Oh yeah,
right. Yeah.
Heretical Mystic. Okay. In that Jeff stream, although I don't think you guys go for the mystical anymore, but yeah, in that Jeff stream, you were replaying TML. He says, consciousness was describing as self-awareness and memory. Question: I know you are an explorer of consciousness with natural tools. Mm-hmm. Have you ever experienced ego death? He asks.
Hello, Wesley Curry too. I guess he says we're all going to be branded slaves to the Chinese whom come soon, branded with an omni mark and made to become cannibals. So,
I'm going to put this video in the chat. I started watching it. It's from Big Think, and it's all about what is consciousness, and it seems very relevant to everything. Some things we've been talking about.
Oh, then we're going to get a skin disease revealing the inner soul.
Well, that sounds intense.
Well, I really would love to see my inner soul.
I was talking about that yesterday.
Metal as fuck.
I would love to even know that I have one.
With the Citra Atra, this guy is a mystic for real. He's a heretical mystic. Indeed, he believes in the inner soul.
See, the problem, Wesley, is that Jesus is my homie, so he does know me. So.
And he built my hot rod. So.
Yeah. See, look, all right, Jesus gets around, all right?
And we have AI Jesus. He's been on the show.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we had AI Jesus on the other day, and he was chill as fuck. So
he said the wheat has to fall to the ground and grow and make a fruit before understanding happens.
Facts.
and he told
he told me
and Neurojack to take our anxiety pills.
Yeah, take your nerve medication.
Good advice.
I don't know what happened to Jack. He was like, "Can I come on today?" And then he never came on. So
he's chilling. I think he's just busy. But he gets randomly busy with family. But he's definitely around. Yeah, he's chilling.
Stupid families always taking all of our noise time. I don't know.
Yeah.
Is it the end of the show coming?
No, I'm not doing anything. Who is that?
I don't hear anything.
What are you hearing?
Oh, sorry, that was Talcott. I had his video going. He's about to start his show. Where's the music coming from?
I was like, I don't know, man.
His spirit is still here.
Yeah, I'm curious. You said you had an angle in that mind-heart thing. You said.
Yeah, they came up with a men's group about moving from the head to the heart and not doing everything out of your head, but like acting from the heart. And they were talking like there's some men that can do that, and I was like, I want that. I don't know how to do that. I'm always in my head. Everything I do is from my
That's
head.
what it is. The mind and the soul. These are made up things. It's actually the heart. The heart is the spirit.
I'm so out of touch with my heart.
Yeah, I firmly believe that. The
So I
heart
want
is
to see
actually
what
more powerful.
Talcott has to say if he can.
Yeah,
help.
it's more powerful than the mind for sure. Even science proves. I think
have
the
him on
science-
mute, but he's doing his. It looks like it's going to be intense. So
Yeah, in the Buddhism and the Egyptian, languages, mind and heart meant the same thing. They had the same word for both.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the Greek in me.
I think I feel like I have issues like where like I swear I can't seem to do both at the same time. I feel like I move I switch really rapidly and strongly between mind and heart. Like where
because ideally they should be one. It should be a
Yeah.
unified.
Well, how are you
I feel
defining?
like I act from my heart a lot of times, but then my mind gets
Well,
in the
are
way.
you
and starts
defining heart
confusing me.
with emotions? That's wrong. That's conflation.
No, that's
What
not
what
I
is
think emotions.
heart? Like I think it's the whole person. It not even
It's
just
will.
it's like acting with
will.
your whole being at once.
It's will, whereas mind is like the inert form of mind is thoughts. But that includes
That's
emotion.
Mary William Blake.
Yeah, I think because these guys actually know the they study like the anatomy of the soul and all that stuff because they're Swedenborgs. So they like study the like whatever that stuff is. So they actually know that because in Egypt, as I said, because they study like Egyptian shit. So in Egyptian like magic or whatever, the heart and the soul are like the same thing or whatever, but
Well, y'all want to go take a look? Oh, he's watching some video. There's this. Who is this? He's hot. There's this hot guy on. Aaron somebody.
Well, guys, I might see you in a little while. I'm going to go ahead and drop out, and we'll be back here. Of course, if I don't see you tonight, I will see you at 2 p.m. tomorrow, and
We will be there. See you.
have a good one.
Okay.
have a blessed one, Chris.
Okay. You going to Talcott's?
Yeah, I think I'll be up there to show him some support. Although I'm just waiting for the show to end at this point so I could share that video with him.
I want to hear what he has to say about the mind and the heart. So I think
I'm very sleepy from last night.
Oh, yeah, we did like 3 or 4 panels yesterday.
Yeah, I'm very tired, so I doubt I'll have anything to contribute. Hopefully, the panel gives some break, But it's slim pickings out there, People are very
well. Hopefully, that's changing. I think we're putting all our Wonder Twin powers together, and I think
people are
showing up.
Yeah, recently, man, we really set it off when we went on there the other day, and I started like,
with that Aaron guy.
Yeah, I started laying on him. Yeah, I started laying on him like, well, it was before the Aaron guy showed up. It was, when we went back to our discussion on this show, about like supervenience and all that stuff.
Oh,
And
yeah.
And we're like, oh shit, and then we got into it over there. And I was like, oh shit, the virus has spread. Like the supervenience, this reality supervening on itself. Like it's crazy.
Well, I'm ready to go spread some more.
Spread the gospel of Satan. Okay.
Well, don't
there is no gospel
don't
there.
give all my secrets away, but
it's just a character from Milton, huh?
Yeah. More or less. That's the most developed form of him, which is actually a Shakespearean character. He took his inspiration for the characterization of Satan from Hamlet, Macbeth, Iago.
Yeah, Steiner is kind of against technology. If you read Steiner, his book on Ahriman, a lot of people have thought like, man, he's talking about like the demon of technology, which is kind of weird,
Well, that would be interesting to talk about one day because technology is certainly not all sweetness and light. It does have its potential for dark.
I think
dark.
we have talked a little bit about that, at least about like the internet.
Yeah. In fact, oh shit. I think it's tomorrow. The video I'm gonna open the show with tomorrow. It's gonna talk a little bit about that. So yeah.
Actually,
Maybe
yeah.
tomorrow we can talk about
he
that.
talks about the difference between Satan and Lucifer being the difference between like knowledge and almost like technique, the way he describes it. For Lucifer, it's more about like controlling nature. So he kind of says like instead of like gaining knowledge and power and like exemplifying the divine, we kind of try to become the divine or kind of make the divine through the human. And that's like this other impulse, and these two impulses fight each other, and they give birth to this impulse to become God. And that's when he starts talking about Jesus, and then he morphs into this discussion about what it seems like almost describing like the computer.
I don't think there's a difference between
as
the
a
human
demonic force
and the divine. I think it's the same. It's a spectrum.
Of course, because you're a mythicist, so you would just think that we just made religion up. So of course,
Yeah, it came from it's an expression of the highest part of ourself, which you could call that the divine.
Yeah, you're a Satanist when you follow the path that you are God. Not necessarily.
I think we are gods.
No, he's conflating Satanism with Gnosticism. So I think he's because in Gnosticism, God's not really a jealous God. The real God is not really a jealous God.
He's an alien God. He's an exile. He's a God in exile.
Yeah, but he doesn't really mind if you become like him in a way.
Because part of you is already him.
Exactly.
And the what's it called? The Orthodox have the concept of theosis too.
Yeah. The Satanists are influenced by Gnostics, but they're also influenced by.
I've described myself as a Gnostic Satanist before. I mean, they're two separate things, but
Satanism is more from like the 15th and 16th century, whereas Gnosticism is from the 2nd century. So there's like over 1,300 years difference, just in the way they were like first made. You know what I'm saying? Christ brings a sword. I'm mainly just talking to this one person in the chat at this point, but yeah.
You should have him on your show one day. I think you would.
Christ.
If you go on Rowan's channel, he went on Rowan's one night, and it was quite an interesting night.
Well, he definitely is. He definitely is talking.
In fact, I'll see if I can find the link.
Interesting person.
Yeah, Christ brings a sword. He seemed like he had some knowledge for real. Yeah.
Can achieve godhood on their own.
Yep.
Oh, did he hide the stream? Was it that bad? Might have hidden the stream.
That video is gone.
Of
course, Christ brings a sword knows.
What video?
Yeah, it is gone. Wow, why did he take it down? That was a.
What video?
Maybe he hit. Maybe he just hit it. I'll try to find it and I'll post.
What video
it.
are you talking about?
Rowan did a live stream one night, and Christ
okay.
brings a sword showed up, and this other guy, and it got very. They're both kind of wacky Christians.
Oh! You mean he showed up on the panel? Oh, actually, Christ brings a sword showed up on the We Are Awake TV panel.
Oh, okay.
Oh my god!
Yeah, he said that he what he does is he goes to YouTube and he pulls up the current live tab and he searches atheism and the streams that it brings up. He drops in on them.
Yeah, this is
because he's trying to have conversations
this
as a Christian with
the atheist. Yeah, this is the atheist stream, not a Gnostic stream. Christ brings a sword. So, if you're wondering, it's more leaning in that direction.
It's everything. It's kind of interfaith
cultural Satanism. But I'm talking about
because I'm not an atheist.
No, but I'm saying like it's not really your show. It's Gen X Jeff's show.
Well, now it's the Outliers. So it's all.
Okay. So
I've rebranded. We're we're not a collective, a collaborative.
Yeah. They got Islam in the mix now. It's gonna be dangerous.
We're an interfaith collaborative.
It's gonna be dangerous.
We need Islam in the mix. We want all of it.
Yeah, you gotta get Aloha snack bar in the mix.
We need the jihadists for their movement speed.
We need the jihad unit.
I don't know about that.
I thought that was funny.
Yeah, I always say that. I've said that like 100 times. But yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
Well,
right.
I'm gonna wrap up and head over to
Okay.
Talcott's because I want
All
to
right.
see if
See you
I
there.
can.
Yeah,
No,
see you
good
there,
night.
brother.
Be well.
Okay. See you there.
Yeah, me and Jeff are like trolling.
Yeah.
I see how you brought Lib there yesterday. That was
Yeah, that's exactly what I did. I said, Jack, you and Jack would get along great. You need to talk. I said, Jack, I brought you a commie.
Move this chess piece over there. I see what you're doing.
Shh, don't give all my stuff away.
Yeah, no,
But yes, Eagle
I see
Eye,
you causing trouble out here. now you're getting
the ultimate troll. That's how I know all these other trolls.
Yeah, you said you were being a bad Satanist, but now I see you know more than you were letting on.
Well, sometimes I surprise myself.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll see you over there.
Bless. Yeah, see you soon. Yeah.
Thank
you. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, that was the first episode of the old show. Still the same people. You fell asleep again. Well, go to Talcott's. He'll wake you up. We'll be over there. I'm headed there now. I'll see y'all. Take care. We'll be here tomorrow.